Over the past decade, Lane Stadium in Blacksburg, Virginia has become one of college football's liveliest venues. Since 1998, every game here has been sold out. And today, the house will be full and rocking as Virginia Tech welcomes Nebraska in the main course of this college football Saturday. And welcome everyone to Blacksburg. More than 66,000 on hand to watch the only game of the day between two ranked opponents. It's number 19 Nebraska against 13th ranked Virginia Tech. Hello everybody and welcome. I'm Sean McDonough along with Matt Millen. We are delighted to have you with us. You have to go a long way back to find the last time Nebraska beat a top 20 team in a true road game. The year was 1997, Tom Osborne's last year as coach of the Huskers. But they're 2-0 this year against a couple of Sun Belt teams. They believe today is the day they can get that elusive win and prove that they're on the way back to glory.
Yeah, and there's some good reasons why they can prove that. And it starts on the offensive. It starts with their quarterback, Zach Lee. I don't think a lot of people really know how good this kid is. To be honest with you, I don't think they know how good he is. But he's going to get some help. Roy Halou has averaged over 100 yards the first two games. They're going to need that today. They're going to need to be paying attention because you can hear it this sound. And then Ndamukong Suh, the defender, great defensive lineman, disruptor. They've got to get him blocked.
He is a disruptor. He'll be the main cog in the Nebraska defense, trying to stop a potent Virginia Tech running game, which a week ago rushed for 444 yards against Marshall. The Hokies are 1-1, and here they come to the strains of Enter Sandman. When you think about Virginia Tech on offense, it is the running game. We mentioned the eye-popping total a week ago, and it's two freshman running backs leading the way.
Yeah, and it's going to be the same thing this week if they're going to have success. And they're going to rest it on the shoulders of two freshmen, like you mentioned. Ryan Williams, number 34, David Wilson, number 4. Both are powerful. Both have great speed, and they're very good in the open space. But the thing that's going to really have to do big, or come up big rather, in today's game is going to be Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod Taylor, he's always good with his feet. He's got to be consistent with his arm today, and if he can do that, Hokies have a great shot.
And perhaps we'll have another fantastic finish. It's been an early season filled with them. The opening kickoff right after this. We're back in Blacksburg, the first trip ever for Nebraska to Virginia Tech. It's the third meeting all time between these two schools. They met at the end of the 1996 season in the Orange Bowl. Nebraska won it. And then last year in Lincoln in a back-and-forth game, Virginia Tech won 35-30. The key to that game was mistakes. Nebraska made more of them in losing at home. Let's welcome in down to the field Holly Rowe.
Well, guys, you talked earlier about Ndamukong Suh, that big defensive tackle for Nebraska. Now, he's not just a space eater in there. Last year, he became the first Nebraska lineman to lead the team in tackles in 35 years. Frank Beamer told me that he will be the big part of this game and how they handle him.
All right, Holly, thank you. These teams are anxious to get going, and it's Dyrell Roberts on the kickoff return for Virginia Tech. The kicker slowed him down enough to allow the tackle to be made by Graham Stoddard. Nebraska won the toss and deferred, so they elected to kick. And it's Beamer ball on the first play of the game. Dyrell Roberts, a lengthy kickoff return of 76 yards.
And it's not going to happen unless the freshman back there, David Wilson, springs the whole thing with a block up front. You're going to see it coming right in front of you right here. See that? Boom, nice job block, and then he runs through the first tackle. And a good job on the backside of hustling to bring him down.
Game 3 of the season. Virginia Tech has already returned a kickoff and a punt for a touchdown. On the end around, it's Roberts again. Might be a little winded after the last kickoff return. Sophomore from Smithfield, Virginia, taken down by Sean Fisher, freshman linebacker, part of a very young linebacking core. Both of these teams are inexperienced at linebacker. Virginia Tech experienced at quarterback. Tyrod Taylor making his 18th career start. 14-3 as a starter. One of those losses was last year at Florida State when he played only one play, was injured and did not return. A loss of 2 and a flag thrown.
Illegal substitution. Offense breaking the huddle with excess 12 players. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
Big 12 officials here today. Last year when Frank Beamer's team won in Lincoln, as we mentioned, it was the lack of mistakes. Nebraska hurt itself with 7 penalties. Virginia Tech did not turn the ball over in their win in Lincoln. Coach Beamer in his 29th season, his 23rd here at his alma mater. Only Joe Paterno and Bobby Bowden have won more games among active coaches at this level. 2nd and 17. Taylor started a run, retreated, started a run again, and got taken down back at the 34 by Ndamukong Suh and Jared Crick, the middle of that defensive front.
And that's what we were talking about on the front end here with Tyrod Taylor. When he drops back to pass, he's got to look downfield and see the field. He's got to, and there are guys run. Last year, when these two teams played, he had guys running wide open. He didn't see him. He just took off and ran. Now, certainly his legs are a weapon, but his arm can be a bigger one.
3 wide receivers on 3rd down and 20. Plenty of time to throw. Single coverage. Xavier Boyce, a diving catch, and he is ruled in bounds with a first down at the 13-yard line with Matt O'Hanlon, a safety in coverage.
Let's see if he was in. That's a great throw, and that's what I'm talking about with the arm. Watch this. 1 foot. There's control. Ooh, that's a tough one. Let's see this again. Nice and slow. Catch, foot down. That can be good.
And it looked like he had possession.
There you go.
21-yard gain when they needed 20.
They gotta review it.
It looks like Nebraska may challenge the call.
The previous play is under further review.
Might have been just initiated by the replay booth, although it looked like a couple of the coaches on the Nebraska sideline, the far sideline, were running down to try to get the attention of the officials just before the snap.
Sean, just to go back to the beginning of this thing, and as you're going to watch the Tyrod Taylor pass right there to the sideline, there's foot down control. That's a tough one. Let's just watch control. He has to have control. The foot is down, and he has to continue to control all the way through. 1 foot down, pulls it in. That looks like a catch.
Yeah, he has possession. Didn't lose it when he was on his way to the ground or when he hit the ground. And of course, the standard is the original call, which was a catch, so it has to be conclusive to overrule it. And I don't see how you can conclusively say it wasn't a catch based on that ball in his hands, foot on the ground.
I know one thing, that was a heck of a throw. And going back to Tyrod Taylor, that's what he has to do. Went back a year ago and watched that tape, and he had guys open that he missed. And had he been able to find them, he had big plays all over the field. He found them that time, and a nice big play.
Virginia Tech has struggled on offense in recent years. Last year they were 103rd in the country out of 119 in total offense, and they were 111th in passing offense, threw for only 130 a game. They're hoping they'll be much better in that area this year.
After further review, the play stands as called. First down.
Well done by the officials.
And it was not a Nebraska challenge, so that did not cost them a timeout. There are the numbers, and they're not pretty. The formula under Frank Beamer, we've seen it already. Outstanding special teams and defense, doing enough to win. In fact, they've won 10 games or more in each of the last 5 years. The only other teams that have done that are Texas and USC. Ryan Williams up the middle, and he's to the 6.
Ryan Williams nobody really knows about this kid. This kid has nothing but huge upside. He's a powerful kid. He's got very good vision, but more than that, this kid is just one of those guys who's really, really focused. Really enjoyed my time with him.
He's a redshirt freshman, David Wilson. We'll see time as a true freshman. Ryan Williams appears to have the first down as he made his way to the 3. Ran into another freshman linebacker, Will Compton.
There's that strength, Sean, that we were talking about. He took the hit and then he just continued and pushed right through it.
Well, you and Ryan Williams had a lot in common as we chatted with Ryan yesterday. You both have a earring that pierces through your right eyebrow.
How did you know?
You both take it out on game day. Ryan says, I have a lot of piercings and tattoos. They mark the ball just inches shy of the first down yardage. 2 tight ends in the game, and it's Ryan Williams running left. A great move to get the first down, but not the touchdown. Marked down shy of the goal line. Will Compton prevented the score, but it's first and goal for the Hokies from inside the 1.
And they need Powell running, and this guy's going to give it to him. We also had another really nice talk last night at about 2:30 in the morning when somebody pulled their the fire alarm in the hotel, and I happened to be downstairs in the lobby, and who shows up but Ryan Williams. So I know he's not well rested, but he is powerful.
There's that power formation in the backfield. And it's Williams to the goal line. No signal yet. Now there is. Touchdown, Virginia Tech.
Good power, Sean. Excellent power. Just drove right through it.
Once again, Beamer ball set it up. The 76-yard return of the opening kickoff by Dyrell Roberts. Then the 24 yards in 7 plays. They converted on that 3rd and 20, and Matt Waldron kicked the extra point. Ryan Williams the touchdown, his 6th in 3 games, but it was Roberts who put the Hokies in business. The touchdown. Freshman from Manassas, Virginia. Redshirted last year, was very frustrated in redshirting, but the coaches felt he needed to learn more about his assignment, particularly in pass protection. His short plunge ended that 24-yard drive set up by the opening kickoff return. Now it's Nebraska's chance to make a big play on special teams. Justin Meyer will kick off. And a good kick. It'll come down to Niles Paul near the 2. And he gets stopped at the 23 by Lindell Gibson. Let's go back and look at the touchdown.
We're going to see Ryan Williams in the back here, and he gets a lot of help on the way. They do a nice job of blocking into Kinsu inside and Crick. And then I want you to watch Jefferson, the fullback. Does a nice job now. They get stuck right at the line of scrimmage. Right here, right there. Now finish it. And guess who does the work for him? Sergio Render, the guard. He's going to see him right here. He's going to pull around, and he's going to get a good push to get that extra oomph to get into the end zone. Right there. Look at that. Well done.
Render's one of the best guards in the country. He said he got whooped by Ndamukong Suh in that Nebraska front last year. He was looking for a chance to turn the tables. Roy Halou Jr. on the first play from scrimmage for Nebraska. The gain of 2. He ran into Barkwell Rivers. There's big Sergio. He said, I don't want to make any excuses, but last year I was a little sick. And even though I didn't feel well, it's no excuse. Those guys threw me around last year, particularly Ndamukong Suh. So that'll be a great battle to watch today. Render was on a lot of preseason All-American teams. 2nd and 8. Zach Lee throws it out in the flat. And Halou can't find any running room. Eddie Whitley made the play. He's starting today for Stephon Virgil, their outstanding cornerback, who will not play with a knee injury. That might be a bit of a break for Zach Lee from San Francisco, California. The son of a former NFL quarterback. His dad, Bob, played for 12 years in the NFL, many of them with the Vikings, and has been a great influence on Zach. The coaches say a lot of what Zach knows how to do came from some great schooling over the years from his dad. He's poised, but it's the first time he's played in a place like this. And his pass is batted up in the air and caught by one of the Cornhuskers. Deflected by Barkwell Rivers. And it looked like it came down in the arms of Derek Meyer. And Nebraska will punt. Well, Bo Pelini, when we chatted with him yesterday, said we have a relatively young and inexperienced team going on the road for the first time this year. He thought it was important to start well. It hasn't started well for Nebraska. Alex Henry. Flag down as he punts. He doubles as both the place kicker and punter. Jaron Hosley, the true freshman, returned it to the 44. He took one back for a touchdown last week against Marshall. 46-yard punt and a 14-yard return, but there are two flags on the play, one thrown right at the snap and another one well downfield.
They're fouled by both teams on the play. Illegal shift by the offense during the return. Holding.
Yeah, what happened? They were wide out. The gunner was out wide, and he decided to shift in. Now he is the end man on the line of scrimmage. He's not off the ball, so he cannot motion. You're going to see him right down here. He's the end man, so he's got to be static. Well, they call him back in, and when he does that, as he's moving, now he can shift, but they snapped the ball and turned it into motion, and that's illegal. Then, of course, they call the hold on Virginia Tech.
Last year,
by the return team during the return. Virginia Tech has elected to have those penalties offset and re-kick. Fourth down.
Bo Pelini watched Virginia Tech block a punt for a safety in the first quarter of the game in Lincoln. Bo's done a terrific job. Formerly the defensive coordinator at Nebraska. Left and then came back to replace Bill Callahan. One of the great defensive minds in football. High snap. Rugby-style punt and a boomer by Henry. Look at this one. It lands near the 10 and goes into the end zone. 76-yard punt. Take that, Beamer ball.
That's a pretty live leg. That has a good impact right there. Speaking of impact, when you look at these impact players for Virginia Tech, now you already saw what Ryan Williams is, and you're going to continue to see that throughout this game. But there's another one I want to show you. This guy right here, David Wilson, had over 160 yards last week. He's got raw skills, doesn't really know what he is. Jason World's on the defense. He's got to get pressure, and he'll be consistent because he's a good speed guy outside.
He was terrific in Lincoln last year. On 1st and 10 from the 20, it's Ryan Williams again. You saw those numbers right on the impact players. Williams and David Wilson last week combining for 329 yards. It's the first time in the history of Virginia Tech two backs have rushed for 160 or more in the same game.
When you see that, though, then you have to go right to that offensive line. That offensive line played a heck of a game last week, and they have to prove that they can do that against a much better defensive front in Nebraska.
2nd and 6, there are flags down. It's Williams straight ahead to the 29, a yard shy of the first down. But again, a flag thrown at the line of scrimmage right on the snap. Philip Dillard made the tackle.
Illegal formation. Offense. More than 4 players in the backfield. 5-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
What's that? Asks Frank Beamer.
Well, when that happens, there's usually somebody on the outside who's lined up too deep. Generally, that's what happens.
Williams wears that number 34. He idolizes Walter Payton, has a tattoo, one of his many, that goes up his arm. It says "Little Sweetness." 2nd and 11. Back at their own 19. Virginia Tech leading 7-0. Nice cut by Williams. And he's out to the 28-yard line. Chopped down by Larry Asante. An excellent tackler at strong safety for Nebraska.
And when you look at this Nebraska defense, and we talked about on the start, you have to get Ndamukong blocked. That's the biggest thing. And once you get to him, they have another layer of young linebackers. And they're inexperienced, and they're kind of learning on the job. That's when you get to that second level, you got a shot.
On 3rd and 2, another flag thrown at the snap, and it's a complete pass for first down, and it stands. Tyrod Taylor to Kenny Jefferson, the fullback. Sean Fisher took him out of bounds.
Offside. Number 42, defense, lined up in the neutral zone. Penalties declined. Result of the play, first down.
Penalties were a problem much of last year for Nebraska in their first year under Bo Pelini when they won 9 games. Pass game 7. That's why they took the play instead of the penalty. And Ryan Williams picks his way across the 40 to the 41. Time for an update. Let's head to our Times Square studio in New York.
Hey there, everyone. I'm Matt Weiner here in New York, here to keep you on top of everything happening across the nation. In this Taco Bell update, Aaron Corp got the start for USC at Washington. So far, so good. A 6-play, 80-yard drive. Joe McKnight scored it. SC driving again and leading 7-0.
All right, Matt, thank you. Here, David Wilson now, the true freshman, has kind of running back with blazing speed. 4.33 in the 40. And nowhere to take that blazing speed on his first carry. Stopped for a loss.
And the guy who made him, the tackle right there, is Ndamukong, the guy we said he has to get blocked. And it's a tough job right here. You're going to see James Brooks, 68, right here, coming off the ball. Now Sue, watch, good leverage, nice violent hands, throws him to the side and makes the play. Did a lot of that a year ago. And Ndamukong is he's the real deal, and you're gonna see him in the NFL coming to a theater near you.
It's a Cameroonian name. His dad's from Cameroon, his mom from Jamaica. The name means House of Spears.
Timeout. Nebraska. It is their first of the half.
We asked Ndamukong the other day how often his name is mispronounced. He said, not only my first name, which is always mispronounced, but a lot of people call me Sa. They see the H and they think the last name's Sa. Timeout. And this is a beautiful part of the country, Southwest Virginia. We're about a 45-minute drive from Roanoke. Virginia Tech leading 7-0, facing 3rd and 6. They're 3 for 3 on 3rd downs today. Tyrod Taylor under a blitz, got it off, and it looks to be a first down with a run after the catch by Jarrett Boykin. He was thrown down by the nickelback, Eric Haig, but it's 6 yards, and they're still perfect on 3rd down.
Well done. They come out with a 3-man line. They're going to bring a blitz. You can see Compton come from one side, and then Boykin comes across. Now, I want you to watch the tackle. He tackled him for a first down. He hit him behind the line of scrimmage and threw him forward and got him to first.
Ryan Williams out just shy of the 50-yard line. And we should explain what we're talking about. We mentioned Roanoke, about a 45-minute drive away. The Hokies stay in a hotel in downtown Roanoke the night before the game. And about 2:30 in the morning,
2:13, of course,
the fire alarm went off in the hotel. It actually went off twice. We happen to be staying in the same hotel. There were a lot of Nebraska fans in the hotel. They've traveled very well as usual from the great state of Nebraska. Tom Osborne was in the hotel. The legendary coach was awakened and made his way to the front of the hotel during the fire alarm. Fortunately, there was no fire. Ryan Williams, the ball carrier. Prince Amukamara made the tackle. Fortunately for the Cornhuskers, they were at a different hotel where they had uninterrupted sleep.
There's Tom Osborne, great coach. just has been successful in whatever he's done. And it continues again as the athletic director. I like his choice as the head coach. I really like Bo Pelini. I think this guy's got this program the right way.
Bo leans heavily on Coach Osborne, as you might expect. Another third down and another conversion. Taylor to Jarrett Boykin. 6-yard gain. They're dinking and dunking. Very nice mix of the run and pass being dialed up here by Brian Steinspring, the offensive coordinator, who has been much criticized in this area in recent years.
Look at that protection, Sean. Doesn't get any better than that. Tyrod Taylor, nice patience, just sees everything. He's waiting for Boykin to clear, just leads him. Well done.
Tyrod Taylor's 4 for 4 passing, 440 yards, 4 minutes to go, first quarter. Tech on the move. Taylor on the move to the ground, wrestled down by Pierre Allen, junior from Denver, Colorado, where he was once the Colorado basketball high school player of the year.
Well, he did a little basketball right here. You're going to watch him. Pierre Allen, 95, coming off to Christopher right here. See that? Well done. Didn't commit himself. Waited, had good patience, and waited for Taylor to make his move, and then made the break. When you rush this guy, you have to have patience. You can't just be running wild because he's got the great feet. You want him to make the first move, and then you close on him.
2nd and 23. Another flag down. Another nicely executed short passing play to Xavier Boyce. He got across midfield to the 42 of Nebraska, but looks like this one's going to come back.
Illegal formation. Offense. More than 4 players in the backfield. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, 2nd down.
Frank Beamer winced when we talked about a couple of close calls that didn't go his way in the opener against Alabama. He's a classy guy and doesn't whine about officiating, but if you asked him right now, I don't think he'd be too pleased with what's happened so far today either.
Yeah, what he wouldn't like is where they're lining up. It's just basic stuff. You have to have an end man with an eligible receiver number on the line of scrimmage. That's twice they've done that they did not do that.
3 penalties in 12 minutes for Virginia Tech. Taylor with a great pocket. Threw that one too high. Matt O'Hanlon had coverage on Xavier Boyce.
Talked about this Nebraska defense, Sean, but the one thing, Ndamukong Suh, that's one thing. I really like Jared Crick inside. I think he's a pretty good player. The linebackers are young and they're learning, and the secondary actually is a pretty good secondary. They're playing a lot of cover 2 in zone here right now, and that's why they were running at it, but I'd like to see him match it up a little more.
Carl Pelini serves as defensive coordinator for his brother. They're 5 for 5 on 3rd downs, but this is 3rd and 28. Taylor all day to throw, a single coverage, and it's a little bit too long. Looking for the speedy Dyrell Roberts with Prince Amukamara in coverage, and the Hokies will punt for the first time today. Would you think that's why Virginia Tech's run a lot of that underneath passing game as well, trying to test those linebackers in coverage?
Yeah, and then like you said, he got singled up. They were in a cover 2 there also. The safeties got deep, and then that turns into anything vertical route on the outside is going to turn into anything man, or man, I should say.
Brent Bowden to punt. Senior from Centerville, Virginia, off to a good start this year, as you saw with the numbers, leading the Atlantic Coast Conference. And a pretty good kick. Niles Paul is explosive with the ball in his hands. Across midfield. They have the angle on him. And he gets shoved out of bounds at the 23-yard line by Matt Reedy. 54-yard return by Niles Paul, the 38-yard punt.
Well, the first thing you notice about Niles Paul is when the ball's in his hands, he's like a running back. He's got very good instincts. He has good vision, and he knows what to do with that thing. I mean, he knows how to find the creases in the holes. Nice job at the end. A good angle taken there and gets him pushed out of bounds.
A big kickoff return by Virginia Tech. set up their touchdown. Now Niles Paul hoping that 54-yard punt return will set up a Nebraska score. Zach Lee and the Huskers went 3 and out their first possession. Roy Hallou to the 20. Rashad Carmichael made the tackle. Here's Holly Rowe.
Mind the nickname for this stadium is House of Horrors. The Hokies have beat 31 straight non-conference teams here. But Zach Lee, the quarterback for Nebraska, doesn't seem phased right now. Watching him on the sideline here, he was talking to his offensive lineman, calm, joking around, laughing. He said, "Let's go get this." He's not affected by this House of Horrors.
Hallou down to the 17. The coaches talk about Lee's poise. He's a junior college transfer, arrived in Lincoln in January of 2007, and then redshirted. And here he is after playing last year as a backup to Joe Gans in his first road game as the starting quarterback after 2 easy home victories.
Got good bloodlines. Like Holly said, not a lot of things phasing. That's obviously an outstanding attribute for a quarterback. He's going to look like he's going to bring some heat. Now they backed off.
Well, the movement is confusing the Cornhuskers, and this play is in big trouble. Hallou smothered back at the 23. Cody Grimm with help from Eddie Whitley.
Excellent team defense. See how they tried to get it running to the sideline. They're going to have an option on that thing. Grimm came from the inside out, forced the pitch, and then Hallou has nowhere to go. He couldn't get vertical, had to go sideways.
Bud Foster, the defensive coordinator. Here comes a 40-yard field goal try for Alex Henry, one of the best kickers in the country. And it is good. He's now made 15 in a row from under 50 yards. Well, they didn't gain a yard after the big kickoff return. But they do get 3, and Bo Pelini's team is on the board. Tonight at 8 Eastern on ABC, Colt McCoy and the second-ranked Texas Longhorns look to avenge last year's upset loss to the Texas Tech Red Raiders in Lubbock as they march into hostile territory. Texas Tech heads to Texas Memorial Stadium tonight to take on number 2 Texas on ABC Saturday Night Football presented by Southwest Airlines, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific time. Under Mike Leach, Tech has never won a true road game against a top 15 team. That sounds familiar. We mentioned Nebraska hasn't won a true road game against the top 20 opponent since 1997, 0-16 since. Adi Kunalik to kick off. Had 7 touchbacks in the first 2 games, and here's his 8th of the year. He's been a real weapon as a kickoff specialist. Last year, special teams plays were huge. First quarter, Stephon Virgil blocked a Nebraska punt out of the back of the end zone for safety, the first points of the game. Tech led 28-10, and Nebraska rallied back. Nate Swift electrified the crowd in Lincoln with an 88-yard punt return that got them within 5 with just under 8 minutes to go, but Frank Beamer's team held on. And today they've already been big special teams plays on both sides, as there were a year ago. Tyrod Taylor, his pass is batted down. He had a man wide open in the flat, but Ndamukong Suh got his big hand on it. And you could hear the Husker fans who've made the trip here saying Suh.
And who he had in the flat was Ryan Williams, and he had some space. And Suh did a nice job of getting pushed, getting his hands up in that throwing lane.
On second down, it's Jared Crick. Suh's sidekick up front. Well, we have a moment. Let's check in with the studio in New York.
All right, Sean, for those who missed it, Aaron Corp got the start for USC, got the Trojans off to a 10-0 lead. Washington's back at it. Jake Locker with a 4-yard keeper there, 10-7. Tennessee tied up at Florida, 3-all, end of the first quarter.
Ronnie Kiffin's defense keeping the Vols in it. Much anticipated game. And right before the snap, another flag thrown at the line of scrimmage.
Looks like Sergio Render moved. They get Wang.
Still third down.
Ryan Williams got a little bit of hitch in his get along right there. Got a little bit of a limp going.
And that will likely take us to the end of the quarter. 4th penalty on Virginia Tech. Looks like they have a nice plan offensively, but the penalties have really hurt as they try to build momentum. End of one in Blacksburg, 7-3, Virginia Tech leading Nebraska. Through one quarter, it's 7-3. The Cornhuskers down by 4, despite the fact they had 0 yards of offense in the first quarter. No first downs. They had the ball for just 3 minutes and 16 seconds.
And Ryan Williams is out, and now you're going to take a look right here at number 4, David Wilson, a talented freshman who was just sitting in a high school classroom just a few minutes ago, maybe about 20 minutes ago.
It wasn't quite that recently, but he is a true freshman. Tyrod Taylor had nowhere to throw it. Now he does on 3rd and 14, and it's incomplete.
That was a
roared for a moment. They thought Dyrell Roberts had it, but Larry Asante helped break it up. Let's check in with Holly Rowe.
Well, Virginia Tech running back Ryan Williams kind of limped over to the sideline. They looked at his left ankle, but I just heard him tell some of his teammates on the sports medicine staff that he's okay. Now, keep in mind, David Wilson is another freshman. We asked Ryan, do you feel this kid breathing down your neck? He said, heck no. I hosted him on his recruiting trip. I knew that if we were both here, we could contribute to the team, so he's got a capable backup if his ankle continues to bother him.
There was some concern when Darren Evans, who was an outstanding freshman rusher a year ago, tore his ACL in preseason, but it's obvious they have plenty of talent to fill in for Evans this year as he recuperates. Brent Bowden, the punt. High. Niles Paul engaged immediately, battled hard for 2 or 3 yards on the return. Zach Luckett finally got him across the boundary. 46-yard punt, 4-yard return. Here's the Pacific Life game summary. And very little offense from either side. Virginia Tech moved it in spurts, but the penalties hurt. They had 4 of them in the first quarter.
You can see there's just nothing over there for Nebraska. And so if you're Nebraska, what do? You go back to what you do best. Rely on your offensive line. They have great confidence in this quarterback. Let's see him start to get a little bit of a rhythm because the running game right now is not going.
It was a very conservative play calling approach from Sean Watson, their fine offensive coordinator, in the first quarter. The first road test of the year for the Huskers. Now they come out slinging, and Lee was right on target. The Menelik Holt, the senior from San Diego, 13-yard gain, tackled by Rashad Carmichael.
Nice job by Lee. What he's going to see, you saw him look up first. They were rotating the coverage away from it, and he's going to come back inside. Safety's moving away. Just throw and catch. Well done, well protected.
9th catch of the year for Holt. He leads the team. Lee has really spread it around in the first couple of games. He can also run. He has a man open for another first down inside the 30. Niles Paul, and that is going to be a penalty.
And should be.
Rashad Carmichael swung him down when he was well across the boundary, and it looked even worse because Paul's helmet flew off. So it's a big play, and they'll have even more on the penalty at the end of the catch and run.
After the play had ended, personal foul, number 25, defense. Half the distance to the goal, automatic first down.
Darian Porch, not Carmichael, who tossed him to the ground. Cam Chancellor also nearby. But it was Porch.
And Sean, lost in all that was Zach Lee's feet. Did an excellent job of buying time. Was able to find Paul because he created it.
19-yard gain and then 13 on the penalty as they march it down to the 13-yard line. Nebraska trying to take the lead despite no yards in the first quarter. Lee under duress, and his pass is incomplete. He got belted as he threw it by Jason Worlds.
The guy we talked about on the front end. He's a great speed rusher. This kid plays with excellent leverage. You're going to watch him just come off the edge. Slap the hand down. Boy, he got his hips turned right away and closed. Very well done by Worlds. It's DJ Jones, the kid he beat. Jones' feet were messed up. He can't. When he makes his kick step, it's got to come back straight instead of wide.
Worlds had 8 sacks last year despite playing all year with a shoulder that popped in and out. He had surgery before the Orange Bowl, didn't play in the bowl game and missed spring ball. 2nd and 10. Roy Halou for 3 to the 10-yard line. He was tackled by Barkwell Rivers.
We talked about both sides of their defense, both Nebraska and Virginia Tech, of having young linebackers. Barkwell Rivers, 52 right there. And he's just a sophomore, but he's kind of learning on the job. He's got some thump to him, and he does come downhill, but he's just got to key and diagnose just a little bit better, and that'll come in time.
On 3rd and 7. Lee had to get rid of it. Has a man in the corner of the end zone, and it's incomplete. Intended for Menelik Holt, and it might have been deflected away at the last moment by Cam Chancellor.
Chancellor got on his horse. He had the time. There was pressure coming, though. He had a little bit of time, and he was able to find it. See, he's got him beat. He's got Chancellor beat, and the ball's coming over the top right here. It's a pretty well thrown ball. Oh, looked like it went through his hands almost, didn't it? You got to lay out for that sucker. You got to make that catch.
I wonder if Chancellor got Holt's arm a little bit early. 27-yard kick is up and good from Alex Henry, the junior from Omaha, and Nebraska is within 1 point. Well, we're 3 weeks into our countdown of college football's top 30 moments of the last 30 years. When we come back, moment number 28.
Buffalo Wild Wings presents the top 30 plays of the last 30 years. Number 28. Down 17 points in the national championship game, Nebraska resorted to a trick play, now simply known as the Fumble Rooski. Quarterback Turner Gale gently dropped the snap onto the ground, leaving it for All-America guard Dean Steinkuhler to rumble in for a touchdown. Follow the top 30 countdown all season long, brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings.
Certainly was one of the memorable plays of the last 30 years. Of course, Dean Steinkuhler was a great player, the 1983 Outland Trophy and Lombardi Award winner. His son Baker is on this team as a redshirt freshman, backed up defensive tackle. Sure to tune in to ESPN and ABC's college football coverage next Saturday at 3:30 Eastern to find out what moment number 27 will be.
Old Baker has a lot to live up to, as Dean was one tough sucker.
Adi Kunala kicks off. Here's David Wilson. And the freshman did not get to the 20, stopped at the 19-yard line by P.J. Smith. Wilson will go to the sideline. He started toward the sideline. Ryan Williams looks like he's ready to come back on the field. He's on the field.
Yeah, it's funny, Sean. And Holly, in a report, she said that he's okay. Any player worth his salt will never, ever let somebody take their spot. They're always going to be okay, regardless of what the injury is.
Oglesby is on the field. He's another talented young weapon. Couldn't find any running room there. Sophomore from Garner, North Carolina. Baker Steinkuhler right on cue is in on the play. to stop that play for a loss of a couple.
Nebraska's defense, when they can get this Virginia Tech running game going sideways, they're eating it up. And it all starts inside. We've talked about Sue a few times, but Steinkühler right there also. Just a good job by that down group.
Tyrod Taylor out of the gun on 2nd down and 12. 12 minutes to go till halftime. It's a 1-point game. Good throw, good catch, first down. Jared Boykin with Anthony West in coverage, but it's out to the 34. 17 yards, first down.
This is a well-thrown ball. Good protection. Now West is beat, and you can see Boykin a little bit behind him, but Boykin makes a nice adjustment. It's a good example of kinesthetic sense right there. See that body part awareness just turned around. I read that this morning. I thought I'd throw it in.
Very impressive. Boykin has huge hands. He wears size 3X receiver gloves, and even with those big gloves, his fingers frequently rip the seams. Brian Steinspring, the offensive coordinator, referred to them as catcher's mitts. Ryan Williams out to the 38-yard line. Holly?
Well, guys, Jarrett Boykin actually wears XXX wide receiver gloves. I have a hard time finding them that large. I went up to him before the game, put my hand up to him, and gigantic doesn't even cover it. It's like freakishly large. It reminds me of a Seinfeld episode, you know, the man hands. But he said that he actually busted out a pair of those gloves last week. So they've got plenty in stock back here in the boxes behind the bench for him.
Holly, that looked to me like you have small hands.
Well, it did compared to Boykin's enormous catcher's mitts. Ryan Williams carries short of the 40-yard line. It'll be another 3rd down at about 5. Sean Fisher, Pierre Allen made the tackle. Number 19, Nebraska. Number 13, Virginia Tech. At sold-out Lane Stadium in Blacksburg. Sean all-time meeting. Bowl. The end of the 1996 season. They played last.
He also ran into his own tackle, Adam Grant. He wasn't going any further after he hit him.
Their leading receiver from a year ago. The pressure forced the high throw.
They came with a blitz in outside the pocket. He had Cole. And the ball came off high, and he missed him.
Holly?
Guys, the starting long snapper for Virginia Tech is out with a right ankle sprain. Connor, so in his place, Mark Tuttle, number 63, will get his first snap of the day. I don't know how calm and cool and collected he'll be, guys. He's also the homecoming king.
Pretty calm there.
Princely snap. Oh, and it's fielded by Niles Paul at about the 2-yard line. And it paid off as he got it across the 20 to the 21. And the snapper, the king himself, Matt Tuttle, made the tackle.
All hail the king.
A little conditioning work during the week for the Hokies in that sand pit. Just behind the stands to the end zone to our left. 1st and 10, Nebraska. Chance to take the lead now, despite the fact they have 35 yards of offense for the game. From their own 21. Flag down. Looked like the Hokies might have been offside, and Roy Helu finally breaks free. Out to the 42. Be a gain of 21 if it stands. There was a flag thrown. It looked from here that the Hokies might have been offside.
It looked like it was John Graves inside, number 91, defensive tackle.
Offside, number 91, defense. Penalty decline. Resulted down. First down.
Holly mentioned the new long snapper, Matt Tuttle, who was the homecoming king last year, named at halftime of the game against Western Kentucky. He stayed out on the field and accepted the sash and scepter in full uniform at halftime of that game. They gave him credit for the tackle, but kind of jumped on the pile. When you're the king, you get the calls.
Here comes the king.
And whistles before the snap here.
Prior to the snap, false start, number 73, offense. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
DJ Jones, part of a rotation at tackle. You were impressed as we watched the film. Junior from Omaha, Nebraska.
He's got some athleticism, and they rotate all 3 tackles through. But he bends well. He's a real big man, and he's young. He has a chance to be a good player.
First penalty against Nebraska that's been accepted by Virginia Tech. First and 15. Play clock about to run out. And Nebraska got a timeout just before the delay of game penalty. I think Bo Pelini's wondering if they got all the time they should have after the previous play. Time for today's Aflac trivia question. We want to know which 3 schools have won at least 10 games in each of the last 5 years. If you're paying attention earlier, you should know the answer. But maybe you're just joining us, or maybe you weren't paying attention. If you're just joining us, you've come in at a good time. Good game, 1-point game. Virginia Tech leads. Nebraska ball. First and 15. On their own 36. Zach Lee, a shovel pass. Roy Halou breaks tackles. Has a first down across midfield. Out of bounds at the Virginia Tech 46. Chased up by Cody Grimm, the son of Russ Grimm, the former Washington Redskin Hog and all-pro offensive lineman, and now associate head coach of the Arizona Cardinals.
Now Roy Halou, they didn't get him going early in the running game. That Virginia Tech defense kind of took it away. So what they do is they got to get the ball into this guy's hands. And so they just flip it to him underneath, just like a long handoff, but it puts him out in space and he can do what he does.
Nebraska's running game really kicked into gear the middle of last season, and it's Halou leading the way. They were running back by committee for much of last year. Here he goes. And again, it's Grimm forced to take him across the boundary at the 26-yard line. That's a 20-yard run and another first down for Nebraska, now poised to take the lead.
Yeah, watch Halou. He just stays behind, nice patience, and watch the move right there on Carmichael. And Rashad Carmichael's a good player, and so is Roy Halou. A little shake, jumps back inside, and Cody Grimm pushes him out of bounds.
Here's a junior from Danville, California, in the Bay Area. First 2 drives, nothing. The last couple. Nebraska crisply on the move. Eddie Whitley up from the secondary to put the hit on Halou after a gain to the 23, a pickup of 3 yards. 8 minutes to go now, first half.
Got forced outside to Whitley, but this kid right here, Cody Grimm, you mentioned he's Russ's son. That is one heck of a football player. He's got great instincts. He has great movement. What he doesn't have is great size. He's a little guy. Really, like, you know, you can see 5'11", 200 pounds. But this kid is always around the football. You put that tape on, 26 is everywhere.
And Bud Foster said he's a baller, which is the ultimate compliment. Good throw by Lee. He's another baller, guy who knows how to play the game, get every bit out of his ability. Grimm again made the tackle, this time on the very talented tight end, Mike McNeil.
You know, we were talking about earlier about the young linebackers and how they're not seeing things, they don't feel things. That has never been a problem for Cody Grimm. There's Big Russ, played against Russ, is a great player, was in the all-decade team of the 80s, 4-time Pro Bowler, but big reason of why they won Super Bowls up there in Washington. Very, very smart player, and his son's the same way.
Russ played on 3 Super Bowl winners. Here's a big third down for Nebraska. Place they've stopped in deep penetrations to settle for a field goal. Lee has some running room. Throws, caught, first down, inside the 5. Rex Burkhead, the true freshman running back, lunged down to the 3-yard line. Great poise by Lee. First and goal, Nebraska.
You said it. That is right on Zach Lee. This is great awareness, knowing where the line of scrimmage is, stays patient. Now he starts to run. He draws the coverage in. See, Cody Grimm comes in, and then he just dumps it back. Very well done by Zach Lee.
He was not highly recruited out of high school in San Francisco, at the City College of San Francisco, where he played baseball. And joined the football team. The Huskers found him there. On first and goal, Lee keeps, puts his head down, gets a yard, and then is driven back by Barquell Rivers. There's his dad, Bob Lee, as we mentioned, longtime NFL quarterback. For a while, the athletic director at the University of the Pacific. Now in real estate in San Francisco. And Zach said he's been a great influence throughout Zach's life. Not one of those guys who forced football on Zach, but has been a great resource. Second and goal from the 2. Play action pass. Lee has to throw it away.
Got pressure again by who? Cody Grimm. The kid has, every time you look up, I don't want to get effusive with Cody Grimm, but these guys are rare. Guys who just have a great feel for the game, great instincts. They play with their eyes and then they react really well. They don't make poor decisions, or rarely make them.
He was third on their team in tackles last year and only started 1 game. At 7.5 sacks at his size. Former walk-on. Now on scholarship at Virginia Tech. The defense, they have one more big play. Third and goal. Lee with time, zings one incomplete. It was well covered along the boundary by Rashad Carmichael. Intended for Niles Paul. And once again, the drive stalls and they settle for the field goal try from Alex Henry.
See, Lee knew that he had man-to-man out there and he was going to get that. And he knew where he had to go with it. And his dad knew exactly. But, of course, he saw a couple of fouls there that nobody else saw. It's a good series by Zach Lee.
And now Henry knew that was going to be good. He's just about automatic from inside 50 yards. 17 straight now from under 50. That one a 19-yarder. Nebraska leads for the first time today. Back at Lane Stadium. Time to answer the Aflac trivia question. Which 3 schools have won at least 10 games in each of the previous 5 seasons? Virginia Tech, one of them. Texas and USC. Texas has done it 8 straight years under Mack Brown. USC 7 years in a row. Virginia Tech 5. And Virginia Tech's gone 11 straight years now under Frank Beamer with 8 wins or more. The only team in the country with a streak of that type longer. Georgia 12 straight years with 8 wins or more for the Bulldogs. Adi Kunalik, 3.8 student in advertising in addition to his kickoff prowess. Has it go into the end zone for a touchback. And we touch it back to New York. Matt Weiner with a Sports Center update right now.
All right, John, Sports Center right now presented by Sprint. Physical game in the Swamp, as you'd expect, between Tennessee and Florida. Tim Tebow ramming his way home for this 46 rushing touchdown. Tennessee a couple of scoring drives for field goals, 10-6 there. Washington a chance to tie up USC. We'll tell you about it.
Well, that Florida game's a lot closer than many expected. You know they would like to rout Tennessee if they can, after all of Lane Kiffin's comments leading up to the game. Tyrod Taylor, nowhere to go, ducked ahead for a half yard. The last 2 possessions for Virginia Tech, only 21 yards and 1 first down after a pretty crisp start on offense.
Well, they're going to come with the blitz right here. Tyrod Taylor wants to throw the quick and he can't get it because the corner is right in his face. So he has to pull it back down and try to get what he can. That's a good defensive call and well executed. There's Anthony West out there, that corner.
Bo Pelini says to play great defense, you have to execute play after play. Tyrod Taylor over the middle again. It is caught by Danny Cole with Prince Amukamara draped all over him. Well, we have a king on Virginia Tech side. We have a prince playing for Nebraska today.
That was a heck of a play right there. Amukamara is right on top of him. But Cole understands body position. You watched him at practice the other day. He just understands how to be a receiver. And some guys are trying to learn in that part. He uses his body very, very well.
Led their team in catches last year with 36, the school freshman reception record. Now a sophomore from Lexington, Virginia. Ryan Williams throw a big hole.
Nice, broke him off.
And the Prince made the tackle. Amukamara saving the touchdown at the 26-yard line. Well, Ryan Williams was candid with us yesterday. He said, I don't have blazing clock speed around 4.5 plus in the 40, but he said, I'm pretty fast with the ball in my hands.
Well, what he does, watch him break off the safety. Matt O'Hanlon's going to come across right here. Boom! Sticks that foot back inside, and it's off to the races. Good job by James Brooks up there. Number 68, the right guard, did a good job in the blocking.
Design run for Taylor, and it goes nowhere. A loss of a couple. Now that Ryan Williams was pretty candid yesterday. He said, David Wilson's faster than me. He said, as a matter of fact, the only guy I've ever seen faster than David Wilson is Percy Harvin. Right. And Ryan said, I ran track in high school against Percy Harvin. You said, how'd you do? He said, I quit track after I raced Percy Harvin. Yeah. He said, if there are guys that fast, I don't want to be a track guy anymore.
That's called the realist.
Harvin started Florida, now in the NFL with the Minnesota Vikings. Play clock down to 4. 2nd and 12. Here's the former track athlete, Ryan Williams, down to the 22.
This is an impressive kid. I don't think a lot of people, they don't know about him because he's just getting started. But you could take a good look at him there. You could see where he's from, and he likes his piercings and tattoos and all that stuff. But what impresses me about Ryan Williams is he's a mature kid. I mean, even last night, again, we go back to that thing. All he wanted to talk to me about, it's 2:30 in the morning, he wants to talk about Walter Payton, his idol. But more than that, he was just ready for the game.
Taylor on 3rd down, and it is batted down. And Ndamukong Suh making his presence felt again. Brian Steinspring calls him a disruptor, and that's just what he did.
Yeah, and he's every play. And you're playing a guy like Ndamukong Suh. You can see him right here, number 93. You have to be prepared for him all game long. Now he's just going to take Brooks and just walks him back. You get a guy like this, he's a powerful guy who plays with excellent leverage and very good violent hands. That's what I like about him.
There's Matt Waldron trying to give Tech the lead, and he does with a 39-yard field goal. It's the 3rd year in a row they have a new 5th-year senior walk-on kicker. Dustin Keys was great for them last year. Waldron 3 for 3 now in field goals this season. Already 94 yards rushing for Ryan Williams. He helped set up the field goal that has given Virginia Tech the lead again. Ndamukong Suh helped stop the drive, forced the field goal try.
And Ndamukong Suh has been the Indominator here in the beginning. That's a good player.
Justin Meyer kicks off. Niles Paul right in the middle of the field. And back to the 29. Gentlemen, start your engines at long last. Tomorrow afternoon on ABC, the chase begins. Jimmy Johnson racing for a historic 4th straight championship. Four-time NASCAR champion Jeff Gordon, regular season points leader Tony Stewart look to make history of their own. It's the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup at New Hampshire. Coverage begins tomorrow, 1 Eastern on ABC, and I know one guy who'll be watching for sure, Frank Beamer. There are few bigger NASCAR fans in America than the legendary Virginia Tech coach, who goes to a lot of races. He's been the honorary starter at NASCAR events and participated in a celebrity race at Bristol, which is not far from here. There's Roy Hallou Jr. breaking free. He revved his engine all the way to the 40-yard line of Virginia Tech. 31-yard run, and they're getting Hallou going here in the 2nd quarter.
And a nice block outside by Niles Paul, but that whole thing, that comes down to Eddie Whitley. He's got to make that tackle, and Hallou just ran right through the tackle. Well done by Hallou.
The rushing game came on the 2nd half of last year. 7 of their last 8 regular season games entering today, they've rushed for 200 yards. We saw them early last year against Virginia Tech. They had trouble rushing the ball 5 feet. Deep down the middle, and incomplete, and a flag thrown.
Barkwell Rivers was running stride for stride.
That ball had no chance of being completed. It was overthrown. Intended for Kerensky-Gillian.
Pass interference, number 52, defense. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
That looks like a tough call.
Wow.
Yeah, he's just going to run with Gillian right down the middle of that, right down the hole. Look at him right down here. He's just running. See, there's Gillian has his hand going back, and then Rivers has his hand on his arm. It looks like that's what they called, but
you wonder who's holding whom there.
Exactly.
It was called against Rivers. And puts them in field goal territory now with a chance to reclaim the lead before the half. They want the touchdown. Minute 46 to go. Halou with a blitz coming. Got 2 to the 23.
Good decision by Halou, because like you said, he saw the blitz coming off the corner, and that was Rashard Carmichael. They brought him, and it was supposed to go that way. He just broke it off and came back inside. Good vision.
One of those young people who's changed his life around. He admitted he was a troubled young man in high school, hanging with the wrong crowd. His life has changed dramatically now. Very active in Bible study and the Fellowship of Christian Athletes at Nebraska. Timeout called by Virginia Tech. They were scrambling on defense. 1:14 to go in the half. 1 timeout left for the Cornhuskers and 2 for the Hokies. Well, whether you're living in the Chicagoland area, or if it's just your heart that never left the city, log on to ESPNChicago.com for local coverage of the Bears, Bulls, Cubs, White Sox, Blackhawks, plus all the area's college teams are covered, including Notre Dame, Northwestern, and the University of Illinois. For everything Chicago, go to ESPNChicago.com. And coming soon, ESPN.com for Dallas, New York, and LA. There's also one already up and running in Boston, which I've been checking out regularly.
Baston. Up in Baston?
Yes, indeed.
You pursue that with great vigor.
2nd and 8. After no yards in the first quarter, 150 here in the second for Nebraska. And Halou, bang back. Couldn't find a hole. He ran into Cam Chancellor. Forward progress to the 20, and the clock will run under a minute to go.
It had a chance, but Chancellor came out of that safety spot and read it. But they're going to come down to get a nice block right here. Now you have to replace. He beat the block of the other outside receiver, Holt, and he came through and just boom, nice aggressive job.
3rd down and 6. Nebraska wants to be at the line and ready to go with between 15 and 20 seconds on the play clock to give Lee time. They've been a little slow today. 4 seconds to snap it. Under 30 seconds in the half. Lee had to throw it away. Looking in the direction of Niles Paul. Jason Worlds with the heavy rush.
He's been getting pressure. He's been getting it all day, and he's coming off the edge. You watch him, number 6. Weird number for a pass rusher. But hey, that's the NCAA, and you're going to watch him right here. Go back inside. You can never be an effective outside rusher without taking the inside. He understands that, and he's effective.
Alex Henry to put them on top again. 38-yard field goal. They could save time. Just put the 3 points on the board for Nebraska if it's inside 50 yards. He came into today's game for his career 27 out of 31. He's 4 for 4 today. Monday night on ABC, 8/7 Central. It's the biggest Dancing with the Stars cast to ever assemble. They take center stage. 16 new stars. One epic season. It's ABC's Dancing with the Stars. Holly Rowe's favorite show, by the way. The live 3-night premiere event starts Monday at 8/7 Central on ABC. Of course, athletes have done very well throughout the years on Dancing with the Stars.
Emmett was outstanding. Not that I ever watched him.
He was outstanding.
but I watched him dance for a couple touchdowns. Holly, you watched it. What do you think?
I'm a huge fan. It is my dream to be on that show. But one guy that I think would do very well is Ndamukong Suh. When I got out here for pregame warm-out, I mean, this guy is huge. And he was out here with his headsets on, getting down. I mean, the guy can shake it for a big fella. So that's my next nominee for Dancing with the Stars, and Ndamukong Suh from Nebraska. He was getting after it.
6'4", 300 pounds.
Getting after it good. I mean, is that good?
Yes.
Getting after
Getting
it's good.
after it.
Okay.
I think Holly would be great on Dancing with the Stars. She was kind of dropping a hit with our bosses at ABC. Maybe she'd like an invitation. Adi Kunalik's kickoff brought back by Dyrell Roberts, who bounced off a hit at the 20 and got to the 24. Just 11 seconds left in the half. Alfonso Dennard made the tackle. So how will Virginia Tech play it? They've passed for only 65 yards. Sue's been a disruptor. Let's see what Brian Steinspring and Frank Beamer have in mind here for Tyrod Taylor. Ryan Williams, the running back. As you might expect, pretty conservative play call.
And as you might expect, in Dominator with another tackle.
Some of the fans booing. Again, a sluggish offense for Virginia Tech. That's been the story for several years now. Here's Holly Rowe.
Well, Coach Pelini, it's been really loud down here, but your quarterback in his first road start has seemed composed. How would you describe how he's managed the game?
I think he's played well. You know, we overcame that initial surge they had. You know, we gave up that long kickoff return, and I think we were a little out of sorts, but our guys settled down, and I think we have, our guys are more under control now. Now it just comes back to executing, and we're going to need to execute in the second half to win this football game.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Zach Lee and the Huskers leading 12-10 at halftime. Coming up, stay tuned for a complete halftime report right after these messages. The Dave Matthews Band with Time Bomb. Fans of Nebraska and Virginia Tech hope their offenses are about to explode. As you might expect when these two teams get together, defense and special teams the story of the first half. Welcome back to Blacksburg. Sean McDonough along with Matt Millen. It was Virginia Tech that looked like they were going to get it together early offensively. Penalties seemed to take them out of a rhythm. Nebraska nothing in the first quarter. Then they really got it going in the second.
Yeah, and I think when Holly asked Bo Pelini at halftime, I thought that was a pretty good assessment. It looked like they just calmed down and they got into what they want to do. The one thing they have to improve on here in the second half if they want to win this game is they have to be better in the red zone, because they got themselves a couple field goals. You got to do better than that. And I think for Virginia Tech, they're just inconsistent. That's the biggest thing right now. They'll get their pass game a little bit of rhythm and then it falls off. You got to get the ball down the field a little bit, and I'd like to see some play action because they were running the ball pretty well. Go with a little bit of play action.
Virginia Tech kicks off. Justin Meyer boots it to start the second half. Here's Niles Paul. He had a big punt return in the first half of 55 yards. And a good kickoff return here. They'll begin at the 33-yard line as we check out the Pacific Life game summary. And the biggest play of the first half was the first play. Dyrell Roberts took the opening kickoff 76 yards. It set up a short touchdown drive for Virginia Tech. I mentioned Niles Paul's 55-yard punt return. Roy Halou got it together in the second quarter. Alex Henry 4 field goals for Nebraska. Virginia Tech the touchdown and a field goal. Tech scored 35 points last year in Lincoln with only 3 touchdowns. They kicked 4 field goals last year and had a safety. Menelik Holt couldn't catch the pass from Zach Lee. No yards in the first quarter for Nebraska. Then 152 in the second. Led by Zach Lee and Roy Halou. Second and 10. And not much for Halou. Popped down by Nikos Brown.
You know, the guy who's quietly playing a pretty good game through the first half and now is Barkwell Rivers, that young linebacker. And we talked about the guys who are they're younger and they're having to kind of feel their way through as you look at Nikos Brown. Here's Barkwell Rivers, 52. Each week he gets a little bit better.
Nebraska just 1 out of 6 on 3rd down. Lee given time, and a pass incomplete. Looking for Kerensky. Gilliland.
It's a shame because that was wide open. They ran it perfectly. They cleared with the underneath guy, and he came outside, and it was all you had to do is just step and throw. He just missed that one.
Zach Lee looking up at the replay screen. Want to see what happened. He's missed now in his last 5 pass attempts. There's Alex Henry to punt. Only 1 punt for him in the first half. It was a dandy 76 yards into the end zone. Tied with the 4th longest punt in Nebraska history. This one nowhere near as good. Off the side of his foot, a shank, out of bounds. Let's see where they spot it. The official is still going on the far sideline to the 44-yard line. Just a 20-yard boot by Henry. And Ndamukong Suh lived up to the billing in the first half.
Yeah, and you know, they said that they had to get him blocked, and they didn't. And it's not because of a lack of effort. You can watch him, number 93. He's a dominating player, and he's a disruptor. They called him a disruptor, and that is the greatest compliment you can give a defensive lineman.
Even when he's double teamed, he's batting down passes. Ryan Williams with the first play from scrimmage of the second half for Virginia Tech. Jared Crick made the tackle.
That kid's a pretty good player too. And a lot of times what happens, Suh will get the double, and then Crick will get a single. And Crick will benefit by being next to Ndamukong Suh.
Jared's been a pain in the neck for the Virginia Tech offense. You might say they have a crick in their neck.
Dun, dun.
Hello.
Thank you. I'll be here all week.
Tip the waiters and waitresses generously, please. 2nd and 9. Taylor. Boy, that defense is fast. They responded quickly. It looked like when he first pulled it down, he had a lot of room. He wound up with just a yard, and we welcome in Holly Rose.
Well, I caught up with Virginia Tech coach Frank Beamer at the half. He said the first half was self-inflicted wounds. He said every time we'd get a big play, it would get called back for something stupid like not lining up right. He said we have to fix that. And then on defense, he said they have to stop those big gashing runs by Helu. He said we've got to play gap sound. We've got to fire our guns up in there and make better tackles.
Three wide receivers. They were 6 out of 10 on 3rd down in the first half. They had that, but the pass was too far ahead of Danny Cole.
He had Cole's double slant. First guy clears, second guy comes through. You got to be right on the money with that. It's a step and throw. He had no pressure. Yeah, right here. See, first guy will clear, and that opens this wide up. Easy throw. He's got to make that throw.
You know, Brian Steinspring, the coordinator, takes a lot of heat here, as we said, but he drew up a pretty good play there. They just didn't execute it. But then again, when you're 99th or worse in total offense 3 years in a row, that would have you questioning some of the things that you're doing schematically. This isn't a great punt either by Bowden, but he got a good bounce, and it's still bouncing in bounds down to the 13-yard line. Alonzo Tweedy downed it. An exchange of punts to begin the second half. That one went 42 yards. Well, we talked about how Nebraska's looking for a signature win to mark a return to national prominence. The ACC could use a big win too. They have only 2 undefeated teams left. They've had a couple of ugly losses to teams from the FCS level and a couple of near misses in Maryland and Florida State against teams they were expected to hammer. On first down, it was Roy Helu for a gain of about 3. But it has been kind of an ugly start. The great news is that Miami looks like it is back.
Oh, Miami looks like they're the real deal. Boy, they have team speed again. And that quarterback, Harris, he's got it.
Miami will be right here at Lane Stadium next Saturday at 3:30 on ABC to take on Virginia Tech. Play clock running down. Zach Lee gives it to Helu. Gaping hole, first down and much more. Powering out to the 30 before Dorian Porch got him down on the ground.
Yeah, well blocked. It's a good job by that offensive line. And Helu just takes it and just, you know, runs where nobody is. That's really well done. But look at this. Look right here on Worlds. You get a good job right there. And then nice job in the center coming back. Get on top of the backer, and he's off to the races. Ricky Henry, the offensive lineman, had a nice block there. Guard.
Blew up to 102 yards now. And that's a deep ball and intercepted over the head of the tight end Mike McNeil and picked off by Cam Chancellor.
They were going to try to hit him right down the middle of the field with McNeil running through those safeties, and Chancellor read it perfectly. Came from the left side and ran all the way to the top. Nice read. You're going to see this. He's going to try to get McNeil rather, going to run right through the middle, and then Chancellor sees it. Watch him right here. That's a good read, and he's covered a lot of ground.
First turnover of the game for either team. 5th career pick for Chancellor. Tyrod Taylor gets twisted down by Ndamukong Suh. The crowd didn't like that. Jared Crick had him around the legs, and Suh took his upper body and twisted him to the turf.
Taylor hesitated. Taylor hesitated with his feet. If you're going to be a runner, be a runner. And watch him right here. He goes back. There's nothing. He looks downfield. He doesn't like what he sees. Now pull it down. Go. See, kind of hesitated right there. Can't do that. Suh comes off the block very well, and then gives a little bit of extra.
Well, I know the Virginia Tech fans are booing in part because they remember the opener against Alabama when there was a personal foul penalty thrown against their linebacker Jake Johnson for a similar play. David Wilson gets stuffed by Eric Haig and Barry Turner. Turner back after missing almost all of last year with a broken leg.
Turner coming off that right defensive end spot. They tried to cut that thing back, but he was there. That's good discipline up front.
He's a 5th-year senior.
And he has some speed off the edge, too. And he's just kind of starting to feel exactly where his game is. He'll get better as this thing goes on.
Bo Pelini's imprint on the defense was noticeable right away last year. Defense was much improved after a disastrous 2007 in the last year of the Callahan regime.
Missed him.
Yeah, this offense just can't do anything right now. Taylor's ball was short of Cole, who was wide open, and he would have had first down yardage.
He had time just to step and throw, and he missed. Cole's wide open. You got to make that throw. You're at a big-time college program. I don't want to be too hard on the guy, but he's a good football player. Good football players make those throws.
So much attention in these parts about Taylor as a thrower and his need to improve. You wonder if he feels that pressure when he's out there.
He probably does. He's just a kid. I mean, still a young guy, just kind of developing, but he's got the skills to do it.
Completed only 2 of his last 10. Good punt by Brent Bowden, but there's room as Niles Paul fields the punt. Looking for room the other way. Flag down. He's down. Swung down back at the 18-yard line by Alonzo Tweedy. And it looked like there was an illegal block right in front of the Virginia Tech sideline.
Yeah, that was number 44, Zach Luckett. He was the wing on the outside, the gunner. They took him right into the Virginia Tech sideline.
During the return, illegal block in the back by the return team, number 21. 10-yard penalty. Nebraska keeps the ball, first down.
Let's send you back to New York now. Here's Matt Weiner.
All right, Sean, time for an AT&T All-America Player of the Week update. Cal's job at best figures to move up some Heisman charts after a 131-yard day, including a career-high 5 touchdowns and a road win at Minnesota. Text vote to 345-345 on your mobile phone and cast your vote.
All right, Matt, thank you. Crowd roaring. Zach Lee dealing with the noise on 1st and 10. It's Halou. Turns the corner. And he gets dragged out of bounds by Rashad Carmichael. The play goes to the 13 for a gain of 4. Halou is over 100 yards rushing now, his 5th career 100-yard game. And it's the 3rd straight game that an opposing running back has gone over the century mark against the Tech defense. That hasn't happened since 2002. Halou really emerged good season a year ago and has carried it into the start of this year. Gets the call again and gets chopped down by Davon Morgan. Backup Roverback Jr. from Richmond, Virginia.
They like to come back to the boundary side, and there's some reasons why in college football you see that. Most of the time to the boundary side, you're rotating your safety away from the corner, and that corner on that side is generally your better corner. The boundary side is kind of the short side of the field. The long side, like right here, this would be the boundary side right down here. This guy right here, he's got to be the good one. Most of the coverages are rolling away, and you're on an island back here for both pass and run.
3rd down and 4. Lee tries to run for it and has the first down. Out to the 22. Chased down by Cordero Thompson, but it's a 7-yard gain for Zach Lee.
And good awareness in the pocket. You see, he looks downfield. He doesn't like what he sees. There's good coverage down the field. And then he just takes off and creates and knows he has to pick up at least 4 and gets the first down.
I'd say he got Zach Lee what he needed.
Dun-dun-dun. Again.
Someone pull the microphone, please. Lee keeps after the fake to Halou. Yeah, we mentioned he wasn't highly recruited. No Division I offers coming out of high school in San Francisco. And he wanted to play football at this level. Originally wanted to play football and baseball at this level. He went to City College of San Francisco. Started out as a baseball player. Then went to spring practice the following spring. And that's where he was spotted in football by Nebraska. Before he ever played a junior college game, they had assistant coaches who saw him practicing in the spring out in San Francisco. And they offered him a scholarship while he was still under the radar. He went out the next fall, had a big year at City College. And then a lot of programs wanted him, but by then he had committed to Nebraska. And it's a great thing for Nebraska that he did, because he is a talented fella, a team leader, and as we've seen here today, very poised under these difficult circumstances for a road team.
Yeah, and getting better. And that's the great news for Nebraska. He is just getting a feel of how to play the position and the guys around him, and he's going to continue to get better as this season goes on. The best football for him is yet to come.
Sean Watson is the offensive coordinator there. He raves about Lee. It's interesting watching. They're going to measure here. Let's see if Halou got the first down on the last carry. Watching the tape of last week's Nebraska-Arkansas State game. Sean Watson's a former assistant at Colorado, and they were talking about if Colorado should make a coaching change. There's already speculation Sean Watson could be a candidate there.
He has head coaching experience.
Southern Illinois, and he's from Illinois. And the guy who put in the defense for him was not on his staff, but came and helped install the defense, was Bud Foster, also a native of Illinois, who had already established years of success here at Virginia Tech. He spent some days in Illinois helping his old pal Sean Watson put in a defense. Good friends matching wits today. Big 3rd down and inches. And it's Lee. And he got it. It wasn't by much. He has it. That's listed at 6'2", 215.
You know, I think the biggest thing you see here is exactly what Bo Pelini said at the half with Holly, and that was we settled down and we're just going to start to do what we do well. And you don't see any panic. They just go, you know, they threw the pick, they stop them, they get the ball back, and they're just going to go back and methodically get after it. Part of it's the run game, but they're going to trust Zach Lee to make the throws.
More than midway through the 3rd quarter now. Lee after the fake, and it's incomplete. That fake got him plenty of time, but he couldn't connect with Kyler Reed, a freshman tight end, and the coaches rave about his athletic ability. They think he's going to be a star.
Yeah, you fake it one way and come back against the flow, and there's Kyler Reed right there, and he misses him, and then Niles Paul has a shot at it on the backside.
Lee has missed on his last 6. Flags down.
Prior to the snap, false start, number 78 offense. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
Marcel Jones, the tackle.
You know, Marcel Jones, good young player, good size, but you got to change that first name. Marcel is a fast name, and you can't have a fast name and be an offensive down. You're a lineman. It should be like Fred Jones and Bob Jones.
They should make him a wide receiver.
That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. He'd have the wide part down.
He'd be a big target. That's 6'7", 310. 2nd and 15, and it's batted down. That screen was read beautifully, and the pass was knocked down by Chris Drager, who's a former tight end. He just moved over to linebacker. Remember, the coaches said he was probably the best tight end in the program in the spring. They still moved him over to defense.
And just learning how to play. Now, good awareness, right? You almost have himself a pick. Good awareness, you know, if somebody leaves you go, there's a reason why they're doing that. He just stops himself, goes up, and almost comes down with it.
These Hokie fans have seen this movie many times before. It's looking like another game that if Virginia Tech's to win, it might be the defense or special teams that have to win it for them. The fans are doing their part. Deafening noise again, and Lee's pass is incomplete. In the flat, looking for Roy Halou.
Good defense down the field. They took away the deep. They're going to force him to throw underneath. And then when they do, and now he missed the throw, but they were right there to make the play if they had to.
8 straight incomplete passes for Zach Lee, who in the 2 wins over Florida Atlantic and Arkansas State and Lincoln completed 74% of his passes. Thrown 6 touchdowns so far this year, only 2 interceptions, one of those picks today. Alex Henry to punt. And he just did get it off. And it's a good kick. Fielded on the bounce by J-Ron Hosley. Pretty nice moves by the freshman for an 8-yard return. Mike Hayes covered the punt for Nebraska. 49-yard boot by Henry. Timeout. 6:20 to go, third quarter, a 2-point lead for Nebraska. Defensive coordinators around the country have a restaurant named after Buzz Foster does here in Blacksburg. You have the top 10 in the country defense 5 years in a row. You become a very popular guy. A local restaurateur called Bud said, "I'd like to name my restaurant after you. Might help business." And we saw Bud was there yesterday to greet some of the patrons during his lunch break. Ryan Williams carried on first down for a yard.
There he was taking orders for after the game. That's shameless, I got to tell you. Okay. Oh, you heard the pastrami. Did you hear that in there? I heard that. Talking about pastrami.
He told us if we go there, which we did not, by the way, just in case anybody thinks there's some payola involved, but were we to go, he said get the crab top stuffed shrimp.
Defensive coordinators should know that stuff. It's just like meatloaf. That's what he should be ordering.
And Taylor's pass is dropped. Xavier Boyce couldn't catch it. He cut across the middle of the field.
Yeah, and you're seeing that today. You're seeing a lot of crossing routes. And Tyrod Taylor hit these early in the game, and they come back to it. It's a good call, and that's inexcusable. And he knows it. Boyce knows it.
I think they had too many men on the field, Nebraska, on defense. So a timeout called by the Cornhuskers. Sean Fisher, when running off late.
Those are the things that drive coaches crazy. All those little things, just like you saw at the beginning of the game with all the penalties. There's another one. Mistake, uses a timeout.
Well, friends, we remind you tonight at 8 Eastern Time, ABC, Colt McCoy and the second-ranked Texas Longhorns trying to avenge last year's loss. That dramatic game, perhaps the game of the year last year in Lubbock when Texas Tech was victorious over the Longhorns. They play again tonight. This time it's in Austin, presented by Southwest Airlines. 8 o'clock. Who can forget November 1st of last year? Texas Tech down, the clock winding down in the final seconds. Michael Crabtree. Hey, Michael, sign and get in the NFL. 28-yard touchdown with 1 second left. And the Red Raiders win a wild one.
You know Texas is waiting for that tonight.
3rd down and 8. Virginia Tech has 1 yard of offense in this quarter. They've run 8 plays from scrimmage. Taylor, and that's ruled incomplete. Yep. And Ndamukong Suh there again.
Yeah, they just came with numbers off the right side. Didn't have enough to block him. He's got to get rid of that ball quick. Ndamukong Suh is right in the middle of the whole thing and slapped it away. You're going to watch. They're going to come off this side. They block outside, so that leaves. They didn't slide to Suh, so they made a mistake inside because they had to try to pick up the outside blitzers.
We mentioned there's some rating services that have Suh projected as the top pick next year in the NFL draft. Mel Kiper believes he has a chance to be in the top 5 picks. And Bowden, a good punt. No fair catch for Paul, even though the coverage unit was right there. And the tackle again made by Alonzo Tweedy. Now it's time for another edition of the award-winning Milling Around. Each week, as you visit these cities and towns around America, you like to mill around and get a taste of the local flavor.
Start thinking about a lot of things, a lot of the history sometimes, a lot of things that are going on. And when you come down here to Virginia Tech, the one thing that you notice right away is all the beautiful stonework that's all over the place. So got to ruminating about that a little bit.
We'll listen into that at the end of this play. It's 1st and 10 for Nebraska. Neither team has scored here in the second half. Under 5.5 to go. In the third quarter, Roy Halou tackled by Dorian Porch. Well, what did you see as you milled around?
Well, they have their own quarry down here, and there's a bunch of this stone all over. It's all limestone. They take it, they cut everything to a 6-inch veneer, and then they face it all by hand. And then they bring it back into the school, and I mean, it is just absolutely gorgeous place. You see, everything is hand done and chiseled, stacked and brought back here to the campus. And it's a random pattern with a ribbon joint, and it's gorgeous. I'm a big Stone fan. And Stones fan for that.
Yes. It's a beautiful campus in a beautiful part of America. Zach Lee back on target. After a lengthy drought, he finds Chris Brooks, the senior from St. Louis, his 4th catch of the season. He had only 3 career receptions entering this year.
But you know what you like about that and the Nebraska coaching staff is that they keep going back to Zach Lee. They trust him. They believe in him. And so, yeah, he missed 8 in a row, but they come right back and they throw it again to start the series in the middle of the series, and they get a big first down.
Comes out slinging, a little too low for Niles Paul. It was a forward pass.
You can take a good look at what they've done here. The second quarter was big, obviously, for Nebraska, but since that time, it's been on the slow side. This has not been a big quarter for the passing game or total yards for either team.
Well, last year there were a lot of points scored. A lot of that came off turnovers and special teams plays. Neither offense has moved with regularity today.
They got the safety drop down. You got 8 up front.
Got the snap with under 2 on the play clock. Lee shovels it ahead. And Halou has the first down. That looked a little bit like Doug Flutie from his Boston College days there. Scrambling out of the pocket and improvising on the move. 12-yard gain for Nebraska.
And a nice job of running through the tackle. And he flipped it back underneath. Just get open, okay? So now he sees there's nothing outside, so now he comes back. Again, he did this earlier in the game. He starts to run, and he finds Halou. Now this tackle right here by Jake Johnson, that's got to be made. But a good job of Halou to run through that tackle.
On their own 41, 1st and 10, Nebraska. Halou into the secondary, looking for blocks. Taken down at the 30-yard line by Eddie Whitley, who saved a touchdown.
This is excellent by Halou with his eyes right at the start. He gets that ball, and then he waits for the guy to commit outside, and with those eyes comes right back inside. You're going to watch this. Good by Halou. They start inside. Now watch. He's going to come back here. Defender's going to show up, and watch him use his eyes. Boom, right there, right back inside. It was Porch that he made miss, and he's down the middle of the field. Big first down.
Up to 144 yards for Halou. He had 152 in their opener against Florida Atlantic. And they're in field goal range at the very least again for Henry, but it's Halou thinking about the end zone. They haven't scored a touchdown today. He got 7 more. It'll be second down and 3, and we go under 3 minutes to go in the third quarter. Here's Holly Rowe.
Well, guys, you know, Ray Halou, the great running back for Nebraska, almost didn't make it there. He said he got off after his recruiting visit, and he told his mom on the plane, there is no way I'm going there. And then he said a couple weeks later, he just woke up one day and called him and said, you know what, I'm coming. He found out later his folks were praying for him to get away from home, and some bad influences said, you know, it's a miracle I ended up here, but it's where I needed to be.
Well, he thought it was an answer to prayer. The Lord put him where his life would get back on track. That pass almost intercepted, high and off the hands of Gillian. And it was Eddie Whitley who was thinking about 6 for the defense along the near sideline.
Yeah, that was almost an answer to prayer to the Virginia Tech fans. They need something right down here, because this is the area that we talked about earlier. You see the ball, he had a chance for the pick. But this is the area for Nebraska, we said at halftime, this is where they have to be better. You can't settle for 3 points. This red zone right here, you've got to come away with 6.
With that in mind, Nebraska's called a timeout, leaving them with just 1. They want to make sure they have the right play on this 3rd down and 3. The Nebraska cheerleaders hoping that they'll be cheering for a first down. 3rd down and 3, Nebraska. Leading by 2 late in the 3rd quarter. They're at the Hokies 23.
That's just like stealing up top there. Look at the space for 3rd and 3.
Lee, design quarterback draw. Great call. First down at the 6-yard line. Cody Grimm able to run him down.
Wouldn't have made a difference outside, because this is a great call. They go ahead and they take the, you can see inside, they get the inside rush and they just turn him back inside. And Lee does a nice job with his eyes to get back out there and get it. Of course, that makes Dad happy.
Nice play, Bob Lee says. Just joined us. That's Zach's dad, the former NFL quarterback. They've been down in this neighborhood before. They've settled for 4 field goals today. Can they punch in a touchdown? Lee zings one. Touchdown, Mike McNeil. Flag now in the offensive backfield.
Holding, number 74.
Ricky Henry.
Repeat first down.
That's a big one. So they finally answer the riddle of scoring in the red zone, and then they get hit for grabbing a hold.
And is there a better or more loyal fan base than Nebraska? They traveled so well here out to Southwest Virginia.
Watch Ricky Henry inside, and he's just man-to-man. There it is right there. They're going to take that every time. That's on Cordero Thompson. Cordero just gets to the edge and gets up inside, and he got the arm to the throat.
4th penalty against the Huskers. 1st and goal from the 16, and now a flag before the snap thrown by the line judge on the near side.
First it was the right guard, now it's the left guard.
Dead ball, false start. Number 78, offense. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Well, this could be huge if they wind up settling for a field goal. And the way they're going to the edge of field goal range, because the touchdown with the extra point gives them a 2-score lead, a 9-point lead late in the 3rd quarter against an offensively challenged Virginia Tech team. Now the touchdown came off the board on the holding call. Now the procedure penalty has them back at the 21-yard line. Five-man rush. Lee has a man caught. Incomplete.
Oh boy.
Back judge rolled. It was not caught in the end zone by Menelik Holt.
Menelik Holt must not have had a foot down when he had control of that thing. Let's look. Boy, that looks like a touchdown to me. Have control, yes. Foot in, and that's a touchdown. Oh, he didn't control it all the way through when he hit the ground and it came out. That's what they're calling.
Well, the Nebraska coaches are barking at the official on their sideline, wondering if the replay official is going to stop the game to review it.
And you have to maintain control all the way through.
Looks that the back judge saw, wave it off.
Good call
No
by
challenge from Nebraska. Another quarterback draw. There's a flag down. Zach Lee's down at the 16-yard line. Tackled again by Cody Grimm.
Self-implosion here. Man, don't beat yourself. That's rule
Holding.
number 1.
Number 78, holding. Number 78, offense. 10-yard penalty, repeat second down.
Well, Bo Pelini doesn't like it. Again, in these interconference games, sometimes when teams travel, they like to have their conference officials, and these are Big 12 officials, Nebraska's league, working the game today.
Going against Worlds now. Oh, boy. Worlds beats him on an inside move, and Marcel Jones just gets his hands on him. Looks like he pushed him from behind. That's a tough call.
Now they are on the fringe of field goal range. There would be about a 48-yard try from here for Henry. Under a minute and a half to go. Blitz off the corner from Grimm. Lee got away. Looking for a receiver. Throws it away.
Good by Lee. Good by Lee. Just get rid of that ball. And, I want to go back to that touchdown. That was not a touchdown. And again, take a good look at it. I think this is a good job by the officials. There's the catch. He's down now. If he holds on to the ball, he has to maintain possession of that ball and control all the way through, and he did not. Good job by the officials. On this last play here, when Lee takes off, he got pressure from Cody Grimm and forced him to the outside and then alertly threw the thing away.
Since Halou had a 17-yard run that got Nebraska to the 6. And in 3 penalties, 2 incompletions. 3rd and goal. Another blitz and another flag to stop the play thrown by the line judge. Well, you can understand how there might be timing issues. This crowd is as loud as any you will hear in an outdoor stadium.
Ball start, number 44, offense. 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
Mike McNeil, the tight end, and a good tight end. This kid's going to be a good player.
Of course, last year at the end of the game, there was a controversial late hit called against Ndamukong Suh when Nebraska needed a stop to get the ball back in the final minutes with Virginia Tech leading. Bo Pelini was so upset he got an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty that was the topic of conversation post-game.
All he has to do right now, not try to get the whole thing back, but get enough so that you can kick your field goal.
Lee, they're wearing out the quarterback draw. The Hokies alert to that. That's a loss of a yard. And every yard here could impact the decision whether or not to try a field goal. Barkwell Rivers made the tackle. They lost at least a yard there, and they went from a touchdown off the board and 1st and goal at the 6 to a punt.
Sean, that was some aggressive play calling by Bud Foster. Now, he brought a blitz the last 2 times. He put pressure on him, and he had to pull it back down, and they're forcing the punt. But again, they beat themselves.
Well, Henry's on the punt. They run Hostley back deep. Henry hoping to stop it inside the 5, and he could not. Took a hard forward bounce. Well, you mentioned a year ago, Virginia Tech trying to run out the clock. About 4 minutes to go. 5-point game. Nebraska thought they had the Hokies stopped on a 3rd down and 4, as you see near midfield. Likely would have forced a punt, but Ndamukong Suh called for the late hit. He said, hey, I was airborne. The player was still in bounds when I started after him. All I did was finish the play. I couldn't stop in midair. Pelini didn't like it. He got a flag, and that was essentially game over. Ryan Williams.
That was a tough run. That's a good, tough run. I've been impressed by Ryan Williams today, and getting shaken off a little bit of a shaky ankle also from the 1st quarter. But he has been nothing but powerful. And he kind of has he likes Walter Payton. He doesn't quite have Walter's style, but he's got his strength.
Maybe in the 4th quarter you can explain to me how the Hokies win 10 games or more every year and play this kind of offense. I mean, how great do your defense and special teams have to be game in and game out to do that? 142 yards of offense for the Hokies as we go to the fourth quarter. Nebraska in Blacksburg, Virginia for the first time ever, leading by 2 as we go to the fourth quarter. Bo Pelini and the Cornhuskers looking for their first win on the road against a top 20 team in a true road game since 1997 when Tom Osborne was the coach, and any win anywhere against the top 20 team since they beat Michigan in the Alamo Bowl 2005. They've lost 11 straight games to ranked foes since then. In the top 20, Josh Oglesby the ball carrier. Baker Steinkooler made the tackle short of the first down. And here's a key third down in the opening minute of the fourth quarter for Virginia Tech. Third down and a yard.
This is good though by Virginia Tech, getting to third and short. That's third and manageable. That way the quarterback's arm and legs become a factor.
Virginia Tech did not have a first down in the third quarter. And they're not going to get one there. David Wilson stopped for a loss. Back at the 27-yard line, Philip Dillard and Barry Turner combining to make the play for Nebraska.
Now that's excellent defense right there. Just coming off the edge, making them force it back inside. Now look, everybody get off the block. That is really good. Great job by Turner and Dillard. Nice job. They got engaged. Then you get off the block and they made the play.
And the blitz from Amukamara helped to blow that play up. Brent Bowden will punt it away to Niles Paul. And the Huskers should have excellent field position. Neither team has scored here in the second half. And they took too much time.
Dead ball, delay of game offense. 5-yard penalty, still fourth down.
For the amount of time that the Virginia Tech Hokies spend on special teams, to have penalties on these units, it's got to blow his mind. This guy is he is huge with special teams.
Coaches most of the special teams units himself, does Frank Beamer, and has for a long time. They put their best athletes out there. Bowden's punt fielded by Paul. He's not a fair catch kind of guy. From the edge of the sideline on the far side to out of bounds on the near sideline. That's over 50 yards of running, and he went forward for a couple of yards as well. 47-yard punt. And we check out our Pacific Life game summary. The defensive struggle was broken out as the sun comes back through the clouds here in Blacksburg.
And just look at the offensive numbers for Virginia Tech. And since that opening drive when they went down and scored, they've been non-existent. 7 first downs. That just tells you how good a defense Nebraska's playing. And then the Hokies have been playing good red zone defense.
Virginia Tech did not have a first down in the third quarter. They've had 5 yards of offense in the second half. Nebraska did not have a yard of offense in the first quarter. Roy Halou chased out of bounds along the far sideline by Eddie Whitley. Here's Holly.
Well, guys, one of the problems with this Virginia Tech offense not converting is the defense is exhausted right now for Virginia Tech. This is a huge Nebraska offensive line, and they are imposing their will right now. A couple of the Virginia Tech defenders are banged up. John Graves, number 91, is limped off with the right leg. Jake Johnson's been out on the sidelines. Guys, they are really feeling this physical game right now.
Lee, a good fake, throws into traffic, incomplete. Deflected by Cam Chancellor, who had coverage on Will Henry.
He's had a heck of a game today, Cam Chancellor. He's made his presence felt when he's dropped down in the run game. They've blitzed him a few times, and he's had his hand on a couple balls. So Chancellor's had himself a good name. Nebraska talked about him yesterday. He's one of the guys they thought was one of the good players.
Yes. Got some criticism here locally. Didn't have his usual strong game against Alabama. Played all over for them here. Corner, free safety, and rover. Zach Lee is 8 out of 25 passing for 89 yards. His first tough day as a college starter. Here comes the blitz. He got it away. It's caught. Great effort, but it does not appear that Chris Brooks got the first down. He's a half-yard short. Jake Johnson, who's very strong, used every bit of that strength to stop Brooks shy of the marker. Matter of fact, Johnson has set the bench press records here at Virginia Tech for inside linebackers. He benches 425.
Yeah, he had to use the strength, like you said. No, now they're gonna change their mind and punt. And the way that they've been playing defense here in the second half, that's a good decision. He'll try to pin them back here and win on the field position in the changeovers.
Absolutely, you have to make Virginia Tech drive the field with as horrible as they've been on offense today. Alex Henry, a very high punt, and Daron Hosley with a fair catch at the 11. Just over 12 minutes to go here in beautiful Blacksburg, Virginia. These fans at Sold Out Lane Stadium hoping for just a little bit of offense from the Hokies here in the second half. Starting from their own 11-yard line, it's Josh Oglesby. Ahead for 4. Jared Crick made the tackle. Sophomore defensive tackle for the Cornhuskers.
Tyrod Taylor, he's got everything right in front of him right now. I mean, it's time for him. He's got to step up. I mean, it's just time for him to be the player that he's capable of being.
He's 6 for 16. Zach Lee is 9 for 26. I mean, you have to give a lot of the credit to these defenses. Both of them among the best in the country. Oh, he got away with that throw.
Yeah, he did.
Caught by Sam Wheeler, who's their 5th wide receiver on the depth chart. Looked like that might be picked for a touchdown. Instead, it goes to the 29 and a first down. 14-yard gain after Amukamara had it in his sight.
Boy, Amukamara just read the whole thing. He's eyeballing it. He eyeballed that thing, and he threw it far enough outside that the Prince couldn't get there. Oh, just missed it.
Matt O'Hanlon wound up making the tackle. It's the first down of the half for Virginia Tech. They go back to Ryan Williams on the run. He's over 100 yards rushing. He's been virtually all of their offense, up to 104 yards now on 19 carries. He has 104 of their 167 total yards.
Not good here in the second half. Really, for both offenses, this has just been good defense in the second half.
Who's leading in corner kicks?
How about it?
The soccer game is broken out here. Ryan Williams takes what they call the wild turkey snap here, their version of the Wildcat. And he's across the 35.
When you're throwing like this, Sean, that's telling you, I mean, running rather like this in this type of game, and it's tight and all that stuff, but that tells you that the coaching staff doesn't have a great deal of confidence in that quarterback. Just spread the thing out and start throwing it. He's been average today, but he has the potential to be so much better than that.
He's worked a lot on his throwing. Told us his dad helped him get rid of the hitch in his delivery. That pass is deflected and incomplete on 3rd down and 4. It looked like it was Sue again who got a hand on it.
There's plenty of time. They block Sue. Now, see, he just has the presence of mind to get his hand up there at the line of scrimmage. But it's excellent protection. Sue just gets that hand up there and knocks it away. Get a 4th down.
Dominican, very pleasant young man. We enjoyed the visit the other day. Bowden will punt. 7 tackles, 4 passes broken up today for Sue. He told us he thought seriously about leaving at the end of last year, going to the NFL draft. Good punt by Bowden. Thought it would help his family financially, but he wanted to come back and graduate. He's an engineering major. And it's been a great decision for Sue. Certainly has helped his draft stock with this performance today. We're back in Blacksburg. 12-10 Nebraska. 9.5 to go, fourth quarter. And a moment ago on the sidelines, here's Billy Height talking to the offense.
We're a better football team. So get yourself ready to go. Offense, we got to keep going on this next drive. All right? Get a break in here. Let's make it out.
We're a better football team, says the associate head coach, running backs coach. We'll see about that. Roy Halou, the ball carrier, goes to the 29. Billy Height, 32 years on this staff. His 32nd season. That's the longest active tenure of any assistant coach on the same staff for consecutive years. He was inherited by Frank Beamer from the Bill Dooley staff. And he's coached a lot of terrific running backs here over the years.
And he's coached them well. They always have guys coming out here running through to go on to the next level.
2nd and 7. Under 9 minutes to go. It's Halou again. Very close to a first down. Near the 35-yard line, Jake Johnson made the tackle.
Just a little bit short. It'll be 3rd and about, maybe about a half a yard or so. Big play here for the Hokies. Big play for the Nebraska Cornhuskers.
Halou 5 yards away from his career high, 166 against Colorado last year. Halou, the lone back, 3rd and less than a yard. Halou, first down. Couple of stutter steps to find the hole, but he was patient. Waited for the opening. Eddie Whitley the tackle, but that is a big first down for the Huskers to move the chains and keep the clock rolling.
Good runners have runners' patience, and it's kind of hard to define, but it's just waiting to the right time to hit that burst or to get down and drive through. But Halou's got it.
He's been a change mover today. It's the 6th first down they've picked up on a Halou run. 8 minutes to go. Nebraska by 2 in the fourth quarter, and the pass intended for Niles Paul is incomplete from Zach Lee.
Chancellor was there to defend, but Zach Lee got some pressure up there by Cody Grimm. Again, as we talked about him in the first half, and it's been the same kind of second half, just active all the time. Looks like he held his knee there, maybe a little tweakage.
Zach and Bob Lee, not the only celebrities in that family. Zach's sister Jenna Lee is an anchor woman on the Fox Business Channel. Those of us who don't have much money don't watch those fancy business programs, investment shows. Nebraska calls the timeout. That's it for them. We're back on the campus of Virginia Tech University. Inside Lane Stadium. Fans have stayed in it all day despite the anemic offensive performance of their team. Nebraska up by 2. Roy Halou, a great move to get some yards out to the 40. Tackled by Chris Drager.
Antoine Hopkins, he made the whole play. He may not have made the tackle, but he made the play. That's a long way to go from the inside out for a big man, and he forced Halou to cut back inside when the tackle was made.
Halou's been the star on offense for Nebraska. Sue on defense. Neither team has scored in the second half. Halou's up to 196 total yards, including 33 receiving. 3rd down and 6. From their own 40, Zach Lee has some time, has a man wide open behind the defense. Kerensky Gilliland out of bounds at the 25, and if that had been able to be a more accurate throw, it's going to be a touchdown.
Well, they must have just blown the coverage because he was down there they just turned it over to the safety, but the safety you saw ran right past you. Like they just they blew that thing, but he got his feet down, he had control, and it's a big first down.
If he could have turned and stayed in bounds, there was nobody behind him for Virginia Tech. First catch of the day for Kerensky. 35-yard gain. Now they're in field goal range. And a touchdown with the extra point would just about put this one out of reach. Roy Halou tripped up after a run to the 24-yard line by Barkwell Rivers and Jake Johnson.
And this is where Nebraska has stalled all game long. Right down here in the red zone. They've had to settle for the 4 field goals. And credit to the Virginia Tech defense because they've come up big down here. Last time the flag beat them and pushed them back. Now it's on them right here.
Under 6 minutes to go. Virginia Tech has all of its timeouts left. And this defense played valiantly all day. They cannot allow a touchdown here. It's just about game over. Here it goes to a 9-point lead for Nebraska. Halou tackled by Nikos Brown, the son of Chuck Brown, known as the godfather of go-go.
Going to be it's a big third down. Big third down for both sides. And you can see that's a new career high. So Halou to a new career high.
4 yards better than the total they put on Colorado. And a lot of key third downs today. Each team's had 15 third down plays, and they're both 6 out of 15 for the day. 3rd and 3. Halou. Can he get away? No. Stopped by Rashad Carmichael with help from Jason Worlds. Lost 2 yards on the play.
Don Carmichael made the tackle, but the play was made on the front side. Nice job of forcing it to cut back. Nikos Brown was there, and Halou had to cut everything all the way back, and then Carmichael made the tackle for the loss and sets up another field goal. Good red zone defense again by the Hokies.
Henry's 4 for 4 today. 31 out of 35 in his career. Now he's 5 for 5 today. A 38-yard field goal. Made 19 straight from under 50 yards. But it's still a 1-score game with 4.5 to go. They'd love another touchback from Adi Kunalik. That's his specialty. Good kick. Tyrell Roberts takes a knee. About 7 yards deep in the end zone. Time to head back to New York for Matt Weiner in a Sports Center Right Now update.
All right, John, Sports Center Right Now presented by Sprint, and Washington is going toe-to-toe with number 3 USC. They turned an Aaron Corp interception into this Eric Folk field goal to take the lead at 13-10. SC has responded. Jordan Congdon from 25 yards, 13 all in Seattle with about 4 minutes left.
That's a huge one up there.
Wonder about a letdown after the big win at Ohio State. Tyrod Taylor tucks it down and runs. And goes out of bounds at the 24-yard line. That gives them 36 yards of offense in the second half. They still have just 1 first down since the intermission. Anthony West chased out Taylor.
They have been anemic. I mean, that right now, and I'm going to credit the Nebraska defense because they've done everything they've been asked to do, and it starts up front again. Ndamukong Suh, Ndamukong, the Indominator. He's played a whale of a football game.
Heading up a screen. Nebraska read it well. You could see them stop the rush, and Larry Asante made the tackle. Part of this defense. He's a Virginia native from Alexandria. He said he has about 40 tickets here today for friends and family members.
What they're seeing is a good effort out of Asante. He's made a lot of good tackles. His coverage has been impeccable.
Yet another critical third down. 3rd down and 4. 3.5 minutes to go. Taylor steered it to Greg Boone, the tight end, for the first down. That was not a particularly confident throw, but he got it there, and with just enough to move the chains for just the 2nd time in this half.
Well, you're just going to watch Boone. He's just working on the backer right there, and he just powers right there. See there? Just a simple go down, get by the sticks, and then make sure he falls forward.
283-pound tight end, former quarterback in high school. Taylor pulled it down, zings one, good catch. Jarrett Boykin on a ball thrown a little bit behind him out to the 45-yard line, and a first down with 3 minutes to go. A gain of 14, and they'll come up quickly.
And they're going a little bit of a hurry up, but that's all Boykin. That ball was thrown a little bit behind, and he does a great job with his body to come back and catch it.
And with those gigantic hands Holly told us about earlier.
Comes a blitz off the edge.
And they run it up the middle with Ryan Williams for a gain of 1. The field goal really doesn't do Virginia Tech any good here with under 3 minutes to go. It'll be under 2.5 when they next snap it. They have all their timeouts left.
Trying to go with a hurry up so Nebraska can't make any kind of changes.
Fingernails in short supply here at Lane Stadium. Low throw, it's caught and now ruled incomplete. Jared Boykin, the crowd thought he had it, but the officials ruled no catch, covered by the Virginia native Larry Asante.
Asante's right there on top. Again, they've been bringing some pressure here. They're bringing pressure on Taylor. He's getting good protection.
Playing defense reminiscent of the famed black shirts in Lincoln.
Here comes more pressure.
A blitz, well picked up, and some contact as that pass was incomplete. There was bumping between Amukamara and Jarrett Boykin, and no flag thrown, to the chagrin of the Hokie fans and the coaching staff, as Frank Beamer was several steps out on the field to holler at the officials.
Watch him up top. There's Boykin. There's the. That should have been a flag.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be a flag, and there goes 4th down, and they're going to go for it.
Why not?
They brought pressure the last three downs. Let's see if they do it again. And here it comes.
46. It is a blitz again.
Well protected.
Taylor saw a seam, and now he throws. Incomplete. He had Dyrell Roberts open, and if he hit him in stride, it was a touchdown.
They gambled. Nebraska came with the pressure. Tyrod Taylor uses his feet to get away from the pressure and creates this. Here's the opening right there. It's wide open. Make the throw and catch. You've got to catch that ball. That is, and Frank Beamer knows it. You've got to make the catch. The ball was a catchable ball. It's a big play. It's a big first down, and he dropped it.
With a better throw hitting him in stride. There was nobody behind him, and we saw the speed that he has on the opening kickoff of the game. He would have slanted that into the end zone for a touchdown. Now they have all 3 of their timeouts. In great field position for Nebraska as the Cornhuskers take over at the Virginia Tech 46. Looking for their first win against a top 20 team in a true road game since 1997. A national championship year. Roy Halou Jr. carried a gain of about 1.5 yards and a timeout called by Virginia Tech, leaving them with 2. This is a chance to look at today's City Inside View.
So if you're wondering how he got wide open, they rolled back to a cover 2. You're going to see this. The safety's going to kick back. It's going to be 2 deep and 5 underneath. They're going to get the jam and let him go outside, and then the safety right here, his eyes get him in trouble. He starts to run. Here's the run. Now he breaks, and when he breaks, he leaves that quadrant wide open. Now, a better throw, like you said, Sean, it had a potential to be a score. But as it was, it gave him this 5-point lead.
There's the pass play of 35 yards to Kerensky Gillian. He's been known as Gillian. It's even listed as that in the pronunciation guide at Nebraska. But Holly Rose saw his dad today before the game, and he said our family name is pronounced Gilliland. That L at the end is pronounced. Zach Lee runs to the 41, and Virginia Tech uses its 2nd timeout.
It's good play calling. Good play call right there. You give your quarterback the option to do one of 2 things. If the guy comes into the flat and he's open, he can dump it to him, or he can just take it up and run. And Zach Lee is not going to chance anything, so he runs and sets up this 3rd.
Well, more great college football action tonight, 8 o'clock Eastern on ABC. Colt McCoy and the Longhorns hosting the Texas Tech Red Raiders, who Really threw a nasty wrinkle into the Longhorn season a year ago with the Red Raiders' big win in Lubbock in what was perhaps the game of the year in college football a year ago. Should be another good one tonight. Saturday Night Football on ABC, presented by Southwest Airlines, 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 Pacific. As always, we encourage you to log on to ESPN.com. No wins ever for Tech on the road against the top 5 opponent. Lee takes off running. A first down would just about do it. He stopped short. And now Bo Pelini has a decision to make on 4th down, about 1.5 yards. Last time out used by Virginia Tech.
Now you pin them back.
Yeah, punt.
You try to kick this thing into the corner and try to pin him on the sideline, and then you let this Ndamukong Suh kind of take over like he's done the whole game. Defense for Nebraska has just played outstanding football. They came out with that opening drive and gave up 7, and past that there's been nothing else. It's been all Nebraska defense, and that man's been the leader right there.
Let's welcome back in Holly Rowe.
Well, guys, after Nebraska's first game, their coach Bo Pelini basically called the defense soft. And Ndamukong Suh told us this week, coach said we were out there playing patty cake. We weren't physical enough. Our pad level was bad. We played too high. And they really took it to heart. They were better last week, but boy, have they been after it today, guys. You got to think that Bo Pelini won't call this defense soft after the performance they've put on today.
And Bo Pelini does have the punting unit out there. Why give this Virginia Tech offense a short field? Make them drive as much of the field as you can. Now, of course, with Beamer ball, you better make sure you block if you're Nebraska. And they do. Henry knows to get rid of it quickly, and a great punt. Out of bounds near the 10.
Inside the 20, exactly what you need to do. Now you make them drive the field because they need 6.
Well, Bo Pelini said yesterday that Alex Henry is a rock star. We talked about the environment playing here. He said, well, at least one guy wouldn't be rattled by it. Mike Kicker.
I don't think Bo had good confidence coming into this game. He knew that if his team played to its capabilities, they had a great shot to win this game, and he's right on the money.
And he said last year when Virginia Tech came to Lincoln, he didn't think his team really believed they could win against a team of that caliber. He says now we expect to come here and win this game.
Too many men on the field.
That's another way to play great
Nebraska
defense.
Dead ball, illegal substitution. Defense, more than 11 players on the field without substituting. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
I mean, you wonder if they had 7 or 8 men on the field that Virginia Tech would score.
Well, it all comes down to this. So regardless of what's happened, you know, for the first 58 minutes, now is the game. Good protection.
And Taylor, just as it looked like he was going to escape, got tripped up from behind, and the clock goes ticking. Jared Crick tripped him up. Under 1.5 minutes to go. No timeouts for Virginia Tech. Need to go another 84 yards to win the game. Taylor looking desperately, now throws it deep, has a man open. Unbelievable. Danny Cole all the way out of bounds at the 3. He did not get in.
Like we said, 58 minutes. It doesn't matter. It comes down to right now. Watch the protection first. Good job, and then Tyrod Taylor makes the play, both with his arm and with his feet. Watch right here. He's going to create a little bit, buy some time, and then spots Coyle down the right sideline, and then it's just a race.
Matt O'Hanlon hustled back to make the tackle, and that could be huge with as difficult as yards have been to get for Virginia Tech. This could be a game saver. He clearly was out of bounds before he got in the end zone. They had 57 yards of offense. There he is on the sideline. The ball nowhere near the end zone yet. The crowd's roaring, but his foot is on the sideline.
Yeah, I think they're going to look where to spot this thing too. Where's the ball when he goes out of bounds?
At the 2. His
At the
foot's
2-yard
inside
line.
the 3, and the ball's ahead of him. They've spotted the ball on the 3, so at the very least they should move it a yard forward. They had 57 yards of offense in this half before that play that goes for 81. Perhaps another yard if they do move it a yard ahead. But that tackle and that hustle by O'Hanlon, the senior from Bellevue, Nebraska, could be huge.
Monster play. But again, another blown coverage, just like we saw earlier that Virginia Tech did. But O'Hanlon gets on his horse, and boy, he took a great angle, and that's a big-time play right there.
And at this point in the game, how can you let anybody get behind you in that secondary?
Well, and again, this goes back again to Tyrod Taylor with his feet. But they had their eyes back. You saw the corner back inside. West took his eyes inside, and then the corner, he goes right past him.
Can they score the touchdown? First and goal from the 3. They did not move the ball forward. They blitz Taylor, and he is taken down back at the 10-yard line. And it's O'Hanlon again. And they're going to spot it at the 11. No timeouts left. Under a minute to go. Boy, you have to wonder about that call. You had Williams pounding it forward from time to time today. And they run a play that runs the risk of a big loss, and that's what happened. And they're taking time as well.
Pressure again off the right side.
And Taylor forced to scramble. Will he throw it away? He throws it up for grabs. Incomplete over the head of Greg Boone. 3rd and goal from the 11. Virginia Tech down by 5 with 33 seconds to go and no timeouts for either team.
Matt O'Hanlon, though, 2 outstanding plays. I mean, what a great job to run him down. And then they come on the pressure, and he makes the sack. And of course, now you're down to 3rd and goal from the 11-yard line.
This Nebraska defense has played valiantly all day. One colossal breakdown, but now can they cover it up with a stand in the final minute? Taylor, design roll to the left, now comes back to the right. Waving receivers around, nobody open, running out of time, finally throws, and it is gone! Touchdown, Tyrell Roberts!
That was all Tyrod Taylor. Awesome patience, great feet, and vision to be able to find him in the back of the end zone. That's unbelievable. What a great play. And now they're going to go for 2 here, Sean.
11-yard touchdown. They went 88 yards in 5 plays. After they had done nothing all half, they're going to line up to go for 2. The officials are reviewing this. Apparently they want to make sure it was a catch. And you can feel the anxiety among the sellout crowd of Lane Stadium. They're wondering, why are the officials looking at this? Is it possible they could take down this dramatic touchdown? Now that's a catch.
That's a catch all the way.
You can understand why they want to be sure, but it's absolutely certain. And give Roberts credit. He was a tailback in high school. They moved him to wide receiver to replenish their depleted receiving corps. Well, no doubt. And he is very quickly emerging as a big play threat. He had the big kickoff return to start the game, and now he has the touchdown catch.
We have an awesome game right here. And Omakimura had himself a heck of a play, but Washington just beat USC. How big is that? And college football gets more fun every day.
Yeah, it's been a wild few weeks to open the season. Still time to go here. Bear in mind, Nebraska has a great kicker. They'll get another chance. Virginia Tech trying to go for 2, make it a 3-point game. Then a field goal could only tie them. And of course, you don't want to turn it over on the 2-point play and have Nebraska run it back the other way, which is a possibility. And with that in mind, Taylor doesn't want to risk a catastrophic mistake. So it's a 1-point lead, and a field goal would win it for Nebraska.
This is all Tyrod Taylor. Again, he's buying time with his feet. Now what happens when you're, as a defender, you try to start to roll to him. But this is just, this turns into just schoolyard football. And when you start to roll like this, you have to plaster. And that's what Prince Amukamara does in the back. See him in the back of the end zone. And now, Terrell Roberts, he stops and goes the other way, and just that little bit is able to get the score because Amukamara is right there to bat that ball away.
And it's very hard to ask any secondary to defend for that long when they couldn't get to Taylor. Bo Pelini knew it wasn't going to be good. The defense great all day, and then a couple of breakdowns on the final drive when it looked like they had Virginia Tech dead and buried. Justin Meyer with a big kickoff. Still a chance for Nebraska. Alex Henry has a strong leg. His career long field goal is 57 yards. They'd love a big return from Rex Burkhead or Niles Paul. No timeouts for Nebraska. And a good kick. Burkhead's a true freshman with good speed. And he is chopped down shy of the 15 by Zach Luckett. Let's send you back to New York and get an update.
All right, Sean, the biggest upset of the young season is in the books in Seattle. Washington goes 10 plays, 63 yards for Eric Bolt to win it. The Huskies, winless last year, have knocked off USC 16-13, a signature win for Steve Sarkisian.
Desperation time for Nebraska. No timeouts from their own 15-yard line with 18 seconds to go. Flag down. Well, they do not stop the play. It's caught by Paul. He got flattened at the 34. They'll stop the clock to move the chains and sort out the penalty. Based on the fact they didn't blow it dead, you'd think it was against the defense. Cam Chancellor with the big hit on Paul.
You figure
they're bringing the ball back.
Illegal formation. Offense. More than 4 players in the backfield. 5-yard penalty. Receive first down.
Somebody lined up wrong again. That just blows your mind. It happened to Virginia Tech at the beginning of the game, and now it's happening to Nebraska at the end of the game. And Sean, they were only about 25 yards away from taking a field goal.
Now they're back at the 10.
Now they got to get it out of bounds because you got to get your field goal unit in. You have to defend the perimeter, and he's got to push the ball down the field here.
Wipes out a 19-yard game, the 9th penalty against Nebraska. There's a couple of key mistakes that cost them at home last year against Virginia Tech. And today, the defensive breakdown that Bo Pelini and Carl Pelini still can't believe when they had the game won. From the 10, 12 seconds to go. 3 receivers were to the left of Lee, 1 to the right. Now he's just going to hope for the miracle. And it is batted around and intercepted. Rashad Carmichael will run out the final seconds. One of the most dramatic wins ever at Lane Stadium for Virginia Tech. With the win, avoid losing 2 of their first 3 games for the first time since 1995 when they started 0-2, and Nebraska will have to wait for another day to get that long anticipated win on the road against the top 20 team. Here's Holly Rowe.
Well, Coach Beamer, your offense hadn't particularly worked all day, but with the minute left, what changed for Tyrod Taylor?
Well, he just made a great play. He got out there and got Danny Close going down the sideline. Made a great play, you know. Great players have a way of making great plays, and that was a couple of great players.
Tell us a little bit what you had to do. Tyrell Roberts had that big drop, but he came back and made a huge play. How do you describe his stick-to-itiveness?
Easy. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. No.
All right, guys, back up to you. We're getting mobbed.
No.
Yeah, Frank Beamer trying to coach the students now down there, a little out of control as the legendary coach tries to conduct the interview. Another memorable day here in Blacksburg, Virginia. The final score, Virginia Tech 16, Nebraska 15. Miami's here at Lane Stadium next Saturday on ABC. For a complete wrap-up of this game, catch us on ESPN News in just a moment. Be sure to tune in to ABC tonight for Texas and Texas Tech from Austin, 8 o'clock Eastern Time on ABC. Now for Matt Millen, Holly Rowe, and our entire crew, Sean McDonough saying so long from Blacksburg, Virginia.